One.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Overdose 14 with Keemstar and OnlyUsemeBLADE.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? Jim, you want to do intros, man?
Yeah, I suppose. Why not? I had about 4 seconds to prepare. So, like Surf said, thanks everybody for joining us and tuning in. To the millions across that'll see this tonight and in the weeks and months to come, hopefully. Thanks to our special guests, Keemstar and OnlyUsemeBLADE, for coming on the show, of course. Start with me, I guess, as usual. Jim from Jim's Nerd Nation. The man in the middle would be Sean Shank, the Sean Shank Redemption, the man who hates everyone. And then we have our gracious host, Surf Dub of Surf Dub Entertainment. Last but not least, we have Tim Maloney, the Yellow Bus.
So what's up?
And I guess that's it, man. We got a great show for everybody tonight. So thanks for tuning in.
So first of all, I just wanted to point out Blade's pink headphones. Is that what you guys want to talk about?
They're
sexy as
like,
shit.
you want to be on the podcast? I'm like, sure. And then he's like, you need some headphones. I'm like, I don't have any headphones. So he brings me this. You don't have the little earbuds that come. You have like 17 different iPods and iPads. You don't have those little earbuds?
I have 3 people in my house. Me, my girlfriend, and my daughter. We all have really nice headphones.
And everybody.
But if you were to come to my house, I wouldn't be like, "Where's your headphones, bro? What's up?" You know what I mean?
It's funny because as soon as Blade put those on and I saw the look on his face, it made me think of a commentary. There was a commentary that Blade did when you were like, "Yeah, I just watched Woody's Gamertag video, and he says everyone's a little bit of homo." And you're like, "No, I'm not even a little bit gay."
No, that's pretty black and white. You know what I mean? Like, there's no gray area.
That video did. A lot of people seen that video.
Really?
Yeah, that video did very well.
What is it called? I'm not gay? Like, what is the... I don't even remember what the video was.
Was that the one we were talking about hitting women?
Yeah. No, I basically, like, people brought up the idea of, like, when it's appropriate to hit women, because that whole thing with the girl on the bus getting uppercutted. So, like, now people feel the need that they need to make up a list of situations where it's cool to hit a chick. And it's like, and if she's coming at you trying to kill you, then go ahead.
I hit a girl once. She was beating up my girlfriend. We were like out dancing, having a good time. We're in front of the club, right? A group of girls mistaked my girlfriend for someone else.
Yeah.
And they went after her and started like beating her up. There was like this big Puerto Rican girl on top of her hitting her, and I just went up and socked her and grabbed my girl and ran.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
I mean, sometimes, like, one time a girl recorded...
What are you going to do? You know, that's your girlfriend.
No, but a girl recorded the show in standard definition, so naturally she had to get beat there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of caveats to that rule, I think. You know, protecting your own is one of them, like Keem said.
Well,
and number 2, nowadays, yeah, and plus 2, I mean, if they outweigh you by 2 to 1, you know, if it's a big woman like that, or it's a woman that maybe you can't tell if it's quite a woman, there may be, you know what I mean? If you reach under the hood, there may be a set of balls, then I think that's an exception.
In my situation, it was like a group of girls. So, like, my girlfriend didn't even have a chance to defend herself, and she was like blindsided. I was just like, fuck this.
Well, you did the right thing.
I was going to say, what kind of dance were you guys doing?
You hit the biggest one, and then they scatter, you know, so.
Shit, no matter how big she is, I may be running, man.
All right, so
I've
let me ask
seen,
you guys. Oh, go ahead.
I've seen a guy hit a girl in a club, and what always happens, or in the club scene or down on the strip, what always happens is like a bunch of dudes just like start beating the fuck out of the dude that punched the girl. Like that happens like every single time.
Except when it's Snooki.
So when I hit her, I grabbed my girlfriend and I literally like ran away. Like I'm like run.
That's smart.
Because I knew that there'd be some dude be like, "You just hit a girl?"
I was going to say, how frequent of an occurrence is that women or men punch women at clubs that you've noticed it so many times?
Not very much. I'd say 2, 3 a night.
Yeah, it happens. Well, see, Buffalo is like a really drinking like town. Like people get fucking crazy out here. It's insane.
The bars are open till 4.
Bars are open till 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Blade, you were
a
bouncer at the bar, right?
Yeah, I was a bouncer at the bar back in Seattle.
Oh, okay, right on. How is it there compared to Buffalo? Is it like as intense or is it more chill?
It's pretty much the same kind of crowd. It's just that the Seattle crowd, they kick them out by 2, you know? So drinkers are drinkers. So you're gonna have your hicks, you're gonna have your the club goers. You have all kinds of different people that go out to clubs, but depending on the club, it's pretty much identical, just that they stay longer here, you know?
Yeah, out here it's like 3 o'clock most places, but 4 o'clock some places. It's kind of, sort of the same thing. Nothing good happens after 1 or 2 in the morning.
I think I'm getting old because like I literally do not like going out anymore. Like we've been going to these like festivals and stuff. It's just not fun. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, Surf, I just like to point out lots of things happen after 1 or 2 in the morning. That's when the chicks are drunk enough to go home with me. So
yeah, yeah.
I enjoy those. I enjoy those late nights.
Yeah, it's like the overtime. You don't necessarily need it, but it's nice to know that it could be there. You know what I mean? Like it's like a time mulligan.
No, but here's the thing. There'll be like no girls in the bar, and you'll want to go and wait until the fucking hits 4 a.m.
No, why would I want to do that?
No, you've done it before.
No.
Let's go.
Last call, girls.
I've literally had situations with friends out here that like want to go out, but they don't want me to get too drunk, so they'll like try to prolong, so we don't end up going out till like 2 because they don't want me being out there. Jesus, the cigarette's running my throat.
Sorry, apologize.
No, not at all.
We have to pause for a coughing interruption.
Yeah. Calls for the calls.
But anyhow.
So this is your guys' show. What's up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, who wants to pick the first topic?
What are the topics?
I would really love to talk about the bullshit goddamn gas prices. Seriously.
Talk about the bullshit goddamn gas prices.
A week ago, I go get gas, man, and it's $3.60, which is a fucking ripoff by far. But then I go get gas today, and it's fucking $4.19. This is like 8 days later.
I'm 30 years old. When I was in high school, a senior in high school, which wasn't that long ago, like 10 years ago, maybe 12, whatever. All right. I went to the Indian reservation near us, and they don't have taxes on their gas, and I got gas for 83 cents a gallon.
When I was 18 years old, which was quite some time ago, I remember gas being 99 cents a gallon. That was the lowest I've seen it since then, and that was quite some time ago.
Yeah, when I was in high school,
it basically means there's no cruising, and you really have to be dedicated to where you want to go.
Oh, it sucks, dude. That's the worst part.
I'm not going over to a female's house with the gas prices like this.
In 2001, I remember when gas hit like $2. We were like, "What is going on? This is crazy." Now it's double that.
People are like, it will never hit $4, and if it hits $4, we won't buy gas. And now
it's insane.
They can make gas $10, and we're still going to buy gas. It's a thing where we
have no choice.
Yeah, we have no choice in the matter.
Well, that's the whole thing, is until it costs more money to get to work wherever you need to go than it is to buy the gas, we're going to continue to buy gas because we don't have a choice.
Yeah. I literally just quit a job because it was more expensive for me to drive there and do the job.
Yep.
Dude, that fucking sucks, man. That's bullshit.
No, I did the math. I was like, because my car doesn't get that great of gas mileage. It's a big old Cadillac. I have to put premium in there, and it's a half-hour drive there and back. So I did the math. I'm like, I think I might break even. Fuck this. This is retarded.
Yeah,
and a lot of people on Twitter are like, "You fucking quitter," and I'm like, go volunteer somewhere and then come back at me. Like, what?
Because that's what it was. It was like
I was pretty much just volunteering. You know, at that point.
Yeah, it sucks though, man, because I just turned 35, so it was about 20 years ago when I was in high school, and I mean, gone are the days of, like you said, being able to just jump in the car and cruise around. You know, one of your buddies has a license or gets to borrow somebody's car, and you want to go cruising, you know, and everybody chips together a couple dollars a piece, and you could drive all night, man. You know?
When I was a kid, I literally would go to a friend's house with no money, with no gas, knowing if I somehow ran out of gas, I could just knock on someone's door and be like, "Hey, I ran out of gas," and they'd give me like 3 gallons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that used to be the world we live in. That'll never happen again.
Now they'll shoot you.
Yeah.
Now they'll shoot you and bury you in the backyard.
Oh, you want gas and you don't have no money? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Now you feel like an asshole. Have you ever gone in and like just had a little bit of cash on you? I don't really carry cash. When I do, I try to get gas for like $5. Like $5 pump 3. They're like, what are you putting in there?
I think the biggest reason why the
hopes
gas
and dreams.
I think the biggest reason why the gas prices have gotten so high is because they know their lifespan isn't that much longer. 10 years from now, we're not going to be dependent on gas like we are now.
That whole theory is called peak oil. I don't know if you guys have heard of the peak oil theory, but it's like, okay, so oil is a natural resource, right? Which means there's a finite quantity of it. Now, we hit that peak, I think it was sometime in the early 2000s, and since then production has gone down. regardless of whatever we've done, there's this concept called net energy. So as much money as you're spending to get a pound or a gallon of oil out of the ground versus how much it costs to get it out of the ground, at some point, drilling and building these platforms just isn't conducive to getting gasoline. So what's happened is we've seen that peak now of production, and now we're on the downslope. And so what this says is like, you know, any natural phenomenon in the known universe, what goes up must come down. And so I think we're headed for a total oil collapse.
People that have these cars that are like hybrids or super gas efficient, they love to rub it in your face. They're like, I drove to bars on a half a tank. It was awesome. And I'm like, fuck off. Like,
well, and the thing is, those people too, they don't realize is like, for instance, there's 7 gallons of oil in every tire on your car. Like even if today we found an energy solution, there's not enough oil left in the world to create 200 million cars to put back on the road because carbon fiber, like I said, your tires. I mean, there's oil in everything. Pesticides, toothpaste, your food. I mean, it's everywhere.
The whole I always like when I'm daydreaming, this has come up in my brain millions of times. Sorry, I picture the train, the whole idea of something on a track and going, and I see that as such a better method, and I don't understand why we don't have some type of method like that today. Yeah, you could still buy a car, but you go out and you get on these main highways on a track, you type in your computer where you're going, and it just takes you there. You don't have to drive the fucking thing.
They've had that idea.
I'm thinking slingshots.
That's why.
Slingshots.
Well, it's accurate, but it's a better ride for sure.
I kind of like teleporters, I like shit like
I would love teleporters.
From when I was a kid, man, shit like from the Jetsons and Star Trek and stuff like that, man, those tubes that shoot you around, or like a Star Trek or even Spaceballs or whatever, where they just teleport you, man.
I just watched a special on that, on some guys that are actually like, they're quantum mechanic physicists, and they're like trying to figure out a way to actually do that, and they say that the main problem, aside from disseminating your body and transporting it somewhere else and effectively killing you in the process, the other problem is the wealth of data. You think of every single atom in your body, there's a known position for each electron. Like, all that data has to be recorded in order to be reconstructed. So it's such a massive amount of information.
If you could teleport someone, then you could duplicate someone, because that's what you'd have to do.
That's exactly right.
But also,
teleportation would kill the human race.
Here's the thing, but also I think that the reason why we haven't had teleportation yet is because we don't necessarily have to physically be places.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can just work from home. If everyone just worked from home.
I work from home. I make all my videos
retail
at home.
guys, but you got to work from home. You got to figure out something to do at home, then.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
I mean, what was it like? Even like the Zimmerman trial, there was a guy that was being depositioned or whatever, and he couldn't make it. He couldn't physically get there.
Oh, this is hilarious.
So they did it over Skype.
Really?
And he got Skype bombed.
He did get Skype bombed because it was on TV, so people saw like the
They started calling him over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, it was hilarious.
But I just think that you don't have to. The reason why teleportation is there, you don't have to physically be places.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you don't have to physically be somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because now with technology, they're making it so, you can do everything. I mean, now you can sit in front of a computer for 8 or 10 hours a day and make your living, pay your bills, take care of.
You can do it while you masturbate.
Yeah, exactly. In between,
in
between, you got to have a little rest in between. That's when you take care of your bills, your work, that sort of thing. Recharge. And then you go and flog the dolphin. Or whatever you got to do.
Who the fuck needs a recharge, man?
I'm watching my face on the replay. Why the fuck do I look so angry?
Maybe you're angry.
Day, I just I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't feel angry, but I look angry as fuck.
You look a little different today. I was going to mention that, but I thought that would be the best conversation starter. Hey, you look a little
you
different.
Look kind of shitty today.
You look kind of angry today.
Especially your Cheerios.
I look so fucking angry. Everyone's you told me when you got here, you're like, why are you in a bad? I don't think I'm in a bad mood, but
which is the last question you want to get if you actually are in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Because then you get in a bad mood, yeah.
And I'm looking at myself, and I look so fucking angry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I still can't get over those pink headphones. Those are lovely.
Those are classic.
Just lovely. So.
I guarantee you, he has a bot. Dude, every time you buy an iPod or an iPad, it comes with those little wires.
I don't even know where they are.
Oh, how convenient.
I have fucking 3 iPads in this house.
I have to say, it is astonishing to me that 2 YouTubers are in the same house and don't have a pair of earbuds.
Yeah, right? I got like 6 of them little.
Well, I don't live here. I come over here to do the podcast.
Yeah, he does.
I never knew that. I thought you guys.
No,
were
hell no, never.
Oh, you answered that pretty vehemently.
I got a house and a family and a kid.
Oh, right on, dude. Yeah, I mean, I knew vaguely of that, but I didn't. I just assumed that you guys were roommates.
No.
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 No, that would not.
That would suck.
That would be horrible.
We just hang out a lot during the day, but then we go our separate ways at night.
Yeah. Well, I just think
That's
okay,
the best
so
type of relationship anyway.
Whenever you're friends with somebody, like I'm single, and Keem he's not like married or anything, but he's got a girl and he's got a daughter. So like.
Yeah, that's a whole different dynamic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I first came out here, I thought that my friendship with him might be a little odd for Melissa because I'm like a dude that I do whatever I want, and I'm you know what I mean? Like, what's that movie? I Love You, Man. Remember how that dude was just like a stoner and lived in a shack and didn't have any responsibilities?
What's the best?
So I was thinking that Melissa maybe looked at me like that dude, you know?
Well, dude, you're just like you just said it. You don't have any responsibilities. Like your apartment and my house would never. You lived here for a while. It was stressful.
I did actually when.
Yo, he hooked up with some questionable women. When I say questionable,
Tranny?
Who has?
nothing like that. When I say questionable, I mean non-attractive.
Transvestite.
Right?
Oh, okay. Wouldn't
All right.
fuck with a stolen dick.
And this dude said to me, that doesn't count. I know I fucked this like ugly bitch, but it doesn't count. I'm like, how does it not count? He's like, I'm homeless. Because he was staying with me at the time.
If you can pull pussy when you're homeless, you're doing something. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
will
mulligan.
lower
Yeah,
my
it's a mulligan.
bar for that situation.
You
I
didn't.
pulled ass twice in the span of a thing where I had no mailing address.
You were not homeless.
I was homeless.
Dude,
So wait,
only
let me
use my
ask
dick.
you
He
about
was
that.
looking for an apartment, and he was staying here for a couple weeks. Banged some questionable woman, and when he was questioned on it, he said, "I'm homeless."
Yeah,
That is
that's why.
ridiculous.
As soon as I got my
That
place, I
is
never called her.
ridiculous.
That sounds pretty solid to me.
Works for me too.
It kind of invalidates the argument there.
If
Say you're
you can
homeless.
pull some ass when you're homeless, then I think the
All
bar
right.
can be lowered.
All right, so you're saying that everyone out there that lives with their parents right now, you can go and hook up with sloths.
Yeah, because if you still live
You
with
can
your parents.
go hook up with
Sloths are in
sloths,
right now.
and nobody can give you shit because you're technically homeless.
Yes.
Sloths are in.
Yes,
Bullshit.
Yes, and this is the reason why. Okay, let's say someone has a friend that like got their own dorm or got their own apartment, and then one of them that's still living at home. Okay,
When you
if you're able to
hook
be like,
up
I'm
with
living at my folks.
questionable
No,
women,
No.
your friends have a right to pick on you. You
I
can't
don't
just
give a shit.
you can't just pull I'm a homeless card.
Oh,
I'm
every single
that
person
doesn't
has
get
had
you out of jail.
every single person has had some people that they're not proud of that they hooked up.
And you get picked on for it.
I don't care if you pick on me for it, but I'm just saying that you don't get to pick on me for that one because I was homeless.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
This right here
Hey,
should be a
Keem.
whole YouTube channel.
Hey,
It's just
Keem,
the
he-
Odd Couple.
Keem, he gets a mulligan because he's homeless. Okay.
I was homeless at the time.
It's called
I almost
Buster.
did it because I was homeless.
Give the poor guy a mulligan. He had no.
I
mulligan.
am
He had no
not
home, seriously.
allowing that excuse to play in that
That's not an excuse,
scenario.
it's a reason.
Is there a picture of her? Of it?
Well, it would be more like a collage. We'd have to get a bunch
Porn
of pictures
tube.
and put it together.
It's on PornTube. He's under celebrities.
All right, wait. So let me ask this. I've always
You know
been
you look
curious,
familiar, Blade.
and I'm sure it's chronicled somewhere in a video that I've missed. But Blade, what prompted your decision to move from Seattle over to New York? I've always been curious about that.
Oh, rough subject.
No, it's not even.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shit.
I'll quickly go through it. So I lived in Seattle. Keem flew me out here to film a music video that was fucking horrible.
It was awesome. People love it. People
Anyways.
love the BKS music videos.
So as I was out here, we decided to film in real life stuff. Like we actually filmed a video where I go on a Segway through a McDonald's drive-thru.
I love that. I saw that video. That's so funny. That's when I first learned of Keemstar. Actually, was that video.
So I spent like thousands of dollars, got all the camera equipment, wireless microphones, flew out a camera guy that I knew out here, and we started actually filming a reality
We
show.
actually made some of the best shit you've ever seen.
Like-
I'm not trying to like pump us up because those channels are gone, but like we made.
We
some
had a
amazing
reality
shit.
show. We had a reality show,
Yeah.
pretty much. And what happened is me and the cameraman didn't get along the cameraman like fucked us over, quit, and we couldn't find anyone to replace him.
And also we lost those channels.
Yeah, we lost those channels too in the process. I had an issue with YouTube at the time that got eventually cleared up, but there was a lot of drama. Like we believed in it.
Drama alert! Drama alert!
We believed in it, and we were gonna do. And me and him were like, we're just gonna do this. We fucking risked it all, and we're still doing it. It's not really a sad story. It's just another bump in the road.
Yeah.
It's a story that's still in progress, is what you're saying, right? I mean, it hasn't played out yet.
Do you guys have intentions of eventually releasing that shit, or?
Well, it's been released.
All of it. I didn't realize that. I thought you had like a bunch of shit stocked up. It sounded like.
Well, no, it was released. People loved it, but we still have them, and we're gonna re-release it probably on a DVD or something.
I don't know. Like we have a lot of footage.
We have everything, really.
Mostly.
So from that, you just decided to stay out there, or?
Well, I signed a year lease, so.
Oh, okay.
But also, it is a lot cheaper out here in Buffalo than it is in Seattle. Like Seattle's
is it really?
Way cheaper
to live. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that because I just assumed that New York was fucking expensive like Chicago is.
Well, the city.
I knew a couple guys that were upstate there.
Buffalo and New
Buffalo
York are
area
different though. Like Buffalo is
like, okay, you know how Detroit is like bankrupt and going to hell and all that.
Right.
Buffalo like survived the same thing that Detroit was going through. We survived it because we had all industry and everything, and we survived it by like going into communications. That's a lot of where everything is here, but it still hit us pretty hard. So it's super cheap to buy houses and to rent and to do anything out here.
I mean, and plus it's like the cost of moving back would be really expensive, and also it's expensive to live out in Seattle. And
Detroit's going through hell. Did you see they got rid of all their cops?
What?
They like got rid of like all their cops.
Outsource, yeah.
And they like freaking they filmed this family, and the family had a robbery, right? They called the cops. It took 4 hours for the cop to show up.
No shit.
It's in San Bernardino, California, where my girlfriend works. They like won't respond unless there's a murder or a robbery or some kind of like felony. If it's like a misdemeanor, they like won't even go over. They close at night. Like the police station closes at night.
That's the place to go do crime.
Please, no crimes between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Exactly.
It's like, if this is an emergency, fuck you.
I have such a criminal mind. I'm like always like daydreaming about crimes, but like I'm not a criminal. Like I don't commit crimes, but I daydream about them. Like if I were to do this, this is how I do it.
Oh, I think about that shit all the time.
Why?
We just talked about on our podcast about the best way to rob a bank. Like I would get away in an off-road vehicle better than like just a fast car.
Why does my brain sit there and try to think of ways to commit crimes? That's fucked up. You do the same thing. What's wrong with you? Are you a criminal?
No.
That's why you guys are
I'm not a criminal, but
I think almost everybody thinks like that, though, at one time or another, because think about it. Keem, you mentioned you're 30. Blade, how old are you?
30.
You're 30. I'm mid-30s, so I mean, we all grew up right around the same time. And I mean, a lot of movies that I saw growing up, movies like with Al Pacino and De Niro, Heat. There was all those movies like glorified that type of thing, you know.
I think I think everyone has those thoughts. It's just that criminals are either dumb enough or desperate enough to actually do the shit.
Yeah. I think most of it's desperation, ultimately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ultimately, if you're put in a position, you know, where you have your back against the wall, you feel like there's no other way, you know, then you wind up doing something. That's not exactly the legal.
People actually purposely go to jail sometimes.
why? Oh, because they're homeless.
They get free food?
No, not even that. They actually do it to make money. They will go in with like heroin, like a lot of heroin. Like they'll swallow like 20 balloons, and then they'll
get arrested.
Go in there, and then they sell
and
it.
Sell this shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
and they make good money for that, dude.
One pops and they die.
That's insane.
That's next level.
Yeah, that's wow.
Drug dealers talking to other drug dealers. Man, you're not fucking.
I've heard of like the homeless guy that like makes a public scene so he gets arrested so he's a place to stay during the winter.
Yeah. There's that kind of stuff too. But there's actually people that like have homes and are like, okay, well, I got to go do a 3-month bid. Like they do like a 3-month bid, and they make like $200,000 from that one bid, and then just chill the rest of the time. But every year they go to jail for like 3 months.
Yeah, but who's paying them in jail?
When they get in jail, there's like a whole operation. Apparently, drugs is like a huge industry in the prison system.
Yeah, and cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Drugs, cigarettes, and tattoos.
And blowjobs.
And anal sex.
Damn,
Yeah, I guess that's true. And probably soap making. That's probably a whole industry in there.
Speaking of breaking the law, I have a what would you rather question.
All right.
Let's hear it.
This is on the topic list, but when I was home like a year and a half ago, I was thinking about this, and it's a bunch of my friends are getting DUIs in Arizona. It's really, really hot out here to, you know.
Your roommate is doing the exact same thing behind you, or that's a mirror.
That's a mirror.
No, it is a mirror. But the question is, would you rather get a DUI and have to tell your family and friends all about it, not including like the possible week in jail and a $10,000 fine after all the expenses, or would you perform oral sex on the cop and not to tell anybody?
DUI.
I'd take the DUI.
DUI.
DUI in
Why?
a second.
Why is, let me ask you a
What if
question.
it's a
How
female
come
cop?
when there ever is, what would you rather pick, they're always horrible situations?
That would be a boring question.
True.
Would you rather have Pepsi
So no one
or
would do it?
Coca-Cola for lunch?
Would you rather have $1 million or a million bitches to fuck at any time?
A million bitches?
Yeah, but then you have to feed them all.
No, because you can pay them.
You have to take care of
If
them.
you had a million bitches, there's going to be a surplus of bitches. Like you can.
No, they're gonna
You
die.
just let 'em die
They're literally gonna die of starvation. Like you have to take care of them.
If you had a million bitches though, and
You could become a pimp.
you're a pimp at that
Yeah,
point.
you could pimp half of them out to make
Yeah.
money for you to support the other half that you like.
So just to
Well,
break
that
even,
business
just to
is
get
so
your $1
dead
million
these days.
back, you would have to get $1 from each one of them. If you can get $1 out of each one of them, you're good. Now you're a millionaire with a million bitches. That's awesome.
See, I would take the $1 million and invest in a prostitution ring and then develop my own business and have the best of both worlds.
And, you just get the
And no
bottom
responsibility, because then they're accountable to you for bringing you more money.
It's supply and demand. If
If
all of a
you have
sudden
the
a million
million
girls
bitches,
go
I'll
off the
give you-
market,
If you have $1 million bitches give you $1, you're picking option 1 then.
and you still have the females.
No, you don't.
Well, they're going to give it $1 and be like, I'm free!
You don't understand. These women are not your responsibility. They can't give you money.
I'm sure I could talk them into it.
But you're responsible for feeding them.
Okay, when you get these million bitches, right? They just pop out of thin air. They're not real people with fucking jobs and
No,
careers
I want
and
real people.
families.
I
So
want
that's
them
like my
taken.
life, not a
no,
real
no,
woman,
wet
right?
taken out of families.
Like they're fucking.
I will
manufactured.
have a $10
Right there,
a
when you
$10
pick what
ransom.
you want.
No, I'll have a $10 ransom for every single one of them. I'm gonna have $10 million because if someone, here's the thing, if Melissa gets kidnapped, right, and the guy's like, give me $10, you're like, fine, here you go. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have any issue with that. So $10 million,
Fucking
you got $10 million,
$10.
you're good. Who's gonna be
Like
pissed? I'm not
babysitting.
calling the cops. If someone steals my girlfriend and says, listen, give me $10, I'll give you girlfriend, like here you go, here's a 20.
Dude, I can see how this was a reality show.
But
Yeah.
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. All right. If you pick the million women, right? They just manifest. They're just there. They don't have a prior history.
Time
They're
out.
just
Are they?
slaves.
Do they just manifest,
How
or
can
do
you
they
get
taken
pregnant?
away?
That's the
Or they
real
take
issue.
away-
Do they have like social security numbers, or are these like immigrants? I mean, what are we talking
They're-
about? Because you
they're-
said you have to feed them, so you're responsible
They're
for
created out of thin air and they're slaves. They're slave women.
But they require
Slavery was
nutritional
abolished.
intake. I just want to be clear.
They're basically robots,
Well,
but not robots.
the fucked up thing is that all million of them
You just
are
described my
going
last
to
3 girlfriends.
get on the same cycle, and that's going to be
Oh.
terror.
Whatever.
No, women when they get together, they get on the same cycle.
Dude, I can testify that Jim and I, we grew up in a house of 6, and there was 4 women in the house, and it was fucking nightmare once a month. And
Yeah.
try emptying the fucking bathroom garbages. That was my job.
them.
Oh.
Yeah, that
I
was
would get
fucking-
one of my 1 million women to do that.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Why is there so many things sticking to it?
It's
funny
funny shit.
horrible.
Let's do a drink check really quick. I can't talk. I'm drinking
terrible.
Red Stripe, which I have something to fucking say about. If you guys notice, it says Jamaican style lager now and not Jamaican lager, and because those fuckers moved their operations from Jamaica to Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and they still charge you $8.50 for a fucking 6-pack.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and I'm the jackass who paid $8.50 for a 6-pack that he's drinking right now.
I was gonna say, and I didn't even pay for it. Shank paid for it, but No, it pisses me off because the whole reason why you pay all this money for Red Stripe beer is because of the imports, right? It's the import taxes. Like, it's just a general lager. There's nothing about this beer that's very special. You pour it into a glass, you're wasting your time. There's no real head. There's no real mouthfeel. Not that I'm an expert on beer. But what the fuck? Why am I still paying $8.50, in this case, Shank, paying $8.50 for a six-pack? I think that's ridiculous.
It costs more to have operations in the United States than overseas, but then when it's overseas, that's the excuse. It's just like the bullshit with the gas, man. I mean, I read that article that Shank linked us to, and they said, hey, by the end of the year, oil is going to be $50 a barrel, but guess what? You're not going to see $2 a gallon gas because people aren't buying as much. We have surpluses of it, and we have transportation and refining charges. Like those just popped up recently. You've always had to refine.
I've always liked the shipping and handling things. It's like, what if I were to come there and just get it off the assembly line? We still charging for that?
It's like if I just go out and pick it up. I'll stop by once a month.
Handling. What are you handling?
Milwaukee. It's not that far.
They would charge you some erroneous convenience fee, like as if it's more convenient for you to go there.
There actually was this story back home of this dude that would sell drugs, but he would sell the bag of drugs really expensive, like a little plastic bag. He's like, these plastic bags cost $100, but the drugs are free, and that's like how he like tried to get away with it.
Business model. I sold fake drugs to a kid on the bus once in 6th grade.
Oregano.
Yeah, it was. And then the next day, his name was Kevin. He came back to me. He's like, dude, that was great shit. Can I get some more? And I was like, fuck yeah. I just kept selling
they've
oregano.
done studies where they've shaved off the A on aspirins and gone to raves and like sold them as ecstasy, and all the people acted like they were high on ecstasy.
Yeah.
It's like a placebo
The
effect.
placebo effect, yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is, because back in the day I had similar experiences as well.
Which I don't fall for that though. Like if I'm taking drinks and I don't get drunk, I'm not gonna be like, I'm drunk. I'm gonna be like.
It's funny that you say that. There was a study I learned of where they say like 70% of the feeling you feel when you're at a party, hanging out at a bar, whatever, is expectations. It's the environment, it's interacting with people, it's whatever. They say when they take people and put them alone in a room and make them drink, that it's almost always a miserable experience.
And it's funny, and that makes a lot of sense though too, because honestly, now having 3 kids and being in my mid-30s, I just don't, I don't have the energy and time or the babysitter to go out as much anymore. But when we do go out, it's obviously it's a rare occurrence, but it seems like a lot of times I have the same amount of drinks or even less when I'm out, and I seem usually pretty good, man. Like I feel good and hammered. But when my wife and I just sit around the house and have a few drinks, it's just not the same thing.
Just like a whole handle of vodka.
No, we're not up. We're not moving. For me, it's really just hoping that we're going to get to happy time and.
You know what I mean? 69, yeah.
And hoping I don't fall asleep or she doesn't fall asleep before that happens. So, like you said, the expectations of it, and when you're out and about amongst friends.
What I'm saying is there's no point of fucking drinking. Like, people need to start doing things, Like, do stuff. Every time I hang out with my friends, I don't care who it is, we get together and we drink. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Why don't we get together and climb a fucking mountain? Why don't we get together and fucking go jump off a bridge? Why don't we get together and go do some crazy ass shit?
Because everyone can be really good at drinking. Not all of us are good at climbing mountains.
No, it's because people are old and boring.
Just get a Camelback and go hiking with alcohol.
I think it's a moderation thing. Like
if I could flip a switch and be 14 again, I'd probably do it.
Who wouldn't?
Do you do it too?
Hell yeah. As long as I knew what I knew now.
Yeah, I'm in. No matter what the side effects.
It's amazing
because
I know less now than I did when I was 14. So.
It's not that you know less. You just realize that you don't know anything. It's more the realization of not knowing.
Well, no, it's the alcohol and bong residue that's totally screwed up my brain that I don't know anything. Half the time I don't know my fucking name.
Dude. I've always wondered, because there's like always conflicting studies saying whether or not like weed actually affects memory and shit, and like viewers and longtime subs know that I smoke pot somewhat. I wouldn't say avidly, but I don't know. I'm usually a daily smoker.
Yeah.
But
every 12 minutes.
It's weird, like I don't know. I don't feel like it's made me dumber. If that's not even a fucking word, but.
Well, you smoke every day though, so you wouldn't know the difference, really.
Well, that's the thing though, is that when I smoke, it's always after like 7 o'clock when my son goes to sleep. So it's almost always at night. Like in the morning, I might be a little bit tired or something, but usually by morning I'm totally fine. There's not a side effect like a hangover or something. So.
I've gotten weed hangovers before.
Yeah, well, shit, man. I think
maybe I'm having one today. Maybe that's why I look so angry.
It's the same thing.
That's what they're saying in the chat, Keem, that you're pretty high. So
One of the other things I said in the chat, they said, whose channel is this? So this is Surfed Up Entertainment, and a little background really quick. Keemstar and Blade, I've liked them for a long time. I sponsored an episode of Bad Kid Cast, and yeah, you got. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say thank you guys because I had also sponsored an episode of PKA, and like, I have nothing bad to say, but they briefly mentioned the channel, and that was cool, whatever. But you guys like went out of your way to go in depth about my channel and a video, and I really appreciate that. It was really cool. That video you guys were talking about actually got a bunch of views. So
yeah, right on.
Thank you.
And
yeah,
I don't
man.
want to talk bad about any other podcasts either, so that works.
Yeah, man. I've got nothing.
We do it better.
It's funny because like I don't, like I had said in the pre-show, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but you guys are the only guys I've ever seen with two guys on a podcast, and then I find it interesting because you're doing basically what you're doing now. It's like the Odd Couple thing, and it's really, really fascinating to watch.
You know what? That's the only real reason why it works. Because if we just were fucking homos and just agreed with each other all the time, then it would be boring.
Like, yeah, so here's my opinion. Yep, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Where's the conversation?
We differ so much that it works. So.
And, like, outside of the podcast, like, we pretty much argue about everything. So,
You guys are like an old married couple.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I don't know. I just feel like I have to argue with him for, like, I represent good in the world, and he represents good. So I'm like on the council for humans.
No, that reminds me of when we were in Seattle and we saw the guy and he was asking for change.
Yeah. I got so pissed off. Oh, my God.
We're driving around in Seattle. It's me, him, Dylan's mom, and I forgot where the fuck we were going. We're in downtown Seattle. We stop at this red light, and this guy's outside the Blade's car. Windows are down. It's a hot summer day. And he's like, yo, anybody got some change? And I go, well, Obama promised it. And
that's such a douchebag thing to say, though.
He lost it.
Yeah, because I was driving the fucking car.
He was like, what is wrong with you?
No.
There is no humanity in your soul. I'm like,
No. All right, if I'm driving the car and you say some fucked up shit, like I'm like responsible for it.
it's a homeless guy begging.
I don't want to be a dick to a homeless guy. I don't want to.
Why?
Homeless
Because I
mulligan.
don't go around being dick to people. You don't
Maybe he
have a problem
wants to
being
get
dick
laid,
people.
too.
I have a problem being just dicks to random people. I don't know.
You know what? You
Homeless
guys.
Blade,
people-
maybe that homeless guy was trying to get laid.
Homeless people are in this world to give motivation to the people that do not want to be non-homeless. You know what I'm saying?
I
They're the screw-ups.
understand.
They're the screw-ups of the screw-ups. All right?
But
People
a lot of
with
people
homes
though. A lot of
and
people
people
choose
that work in
change.
jobs and that work their ass off should not be giving money to poor people begging for it. They should be picking on them.
I don't know about picking on them. Be about your business, you know.
You should go up to them and be like, ha ha, you're homeless. So they're like, wait, maybe I shouldn't be homeless. But because we reward them and give them money, right, they're like, well, why would I go get a job when I can just
Actually,
stand here
I
and
talked
I'm going to
about
get
this-
free shit?
I talked about this in the commentary
You
once.
should
and
pick
I-
on these motherfuckers.
I feel like it's an issue of like social conditioning, right? Like we're trained to believe that somehow if you don't have a job or status or fame or wealth or whatever, that you're somehow less of a contributing member to society. But let's not forget, a lot of panhandlers and homeless people are that by choice, and that's just their lifestyle. And so I don't know. I don't feel like they're necessarily a drain on the economy because when you think about it, the Wall Street banker is using more gas, more resources, more whatever in his millionaire lifestyle than a homeless person ever is by scavenging off of other people.
You could
Right.
cut the home.
Performing. You should be like doing some kind of duty. Like
If there was a law where you can't give money to homeless people, then the fucking homeless rate would go down because they'll be like, fuck, now we have to go get jobs.
And the other thing.
Here's the thing, though. When you're at that point, of being homeless, unless you have family, okay, which they could help you out, unless you have family, you're just fucked. No one's going to hire a homeless person.
Let me explain to you. There are so many social programs
I'd hire a homeless.
in this world. Like, you can go to the fucking government and they'll fucking hook you up,
I'm just
give
saying-
you food stamps, get you on your feet to get a job where you can start taking care of yourself. These motherfuckers don't want to do that. They're out there saying, give me money. Give me money. I need a hamburger. Bull fucking shit. You can get food stamps. You can get fucking more food a month than the average person actually buys.
And listen, both you guys, and actually everybody who commented, these are all valid points, but my personal opinion is, I don't know if anybody ever saw this, about a year or two ago, because we live right outside of Chicago, so my wife and kids and I, we go downtown a lot.
We see a lot of homeless people.
On the train. And as soon as you get off the train, there's homeless people everywhere, and a lot of times they kind of jump up and, come on, give me a quarter, and they kind of scare the kids a little bit. But listen, I saw this special a couple years ago. I saw this special a couple years ago, like a 2020 type deal with like John Stossel or something, and the dude went and he put some dirt on his face and threw it.
I told you about this.
This guy went and he was out there for 8 hours, like a regular job, and he made like $143. Okay, and I forget what major city. It might have been Chicago, New York, whatever.
It was in New York.
And he went and calculated out, and he said, if I did this for 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, I would make $26,400 tax-free money a year. And get this. About 2 years ago, we were on the Metro train, which is the equivalent out here in Chicago of like the L train or whatever. We're on the way back, and I see a guy get on the train, and he comes on there, and he's looking all dirty, and he's got his reflective thing on that they put on so he doesn't get hit while he's panhandling in the middle of the street, doesn't get hit by a car.
I apologize, I bothered your family, Jim.
He's got all this stuff, and he's got his sign and everything like that. This motherfucker goes into the bathroom on the train, right, and washes up, comes out, and the guy didn't have a suit on or anything like that, but he was dressed better than I was, okay? Sits down, packs all his shit away, and I'm thinking, you motherfucker. This is one of the guys that they're talking about. That now he's taking the train back home to his house, and he's talking to somebody on his cell phone on the way home, and you were just begging for money, So now I can't give a lot of times because I don't trust him.
Here's the thing, though. I think that we value this idea that we're not going to sell ourselves, or we're not going to put ourselves through the humiliation of doing the panhandling. These people are actually smarter if you think about it. They're like, fuck it. If I make more money standing here tax-free, I get cash.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're smart, all right? You're being dumb by saying be nice to the homeless.
I don't give money to the homeless, but I don't treat them like assholes.
You do give them money.
I don't give them money.
I've seen you give them money.
I've never given a homeless person money. I like how I'm defending that. I've never
actually, when we were at Billionaires Challenge in California, it was me, X-Jaws, you, and maybe Syndicate or someone, I don't know. And on the way home, we stopped at homeless people, and you and X-Jaws went and gave them food.
That's different, though. Those people were sleeping on a bench. Those were the real ride or die homeless people, okay? And we had extra.
Those are lifers.
Those are the lifers.
The fucking lifer, ride or die.
Yeah, they're sleeping on a bench. They probably, they were probably in Washington, but they moved down to California.
Well, what I'm saying, if you didn't give them that food, they'd be hungry. They'd be like, "Fuck, maybe I should go get a job."
I understand both viewpoints, man. Blade's trying to have a heart, and I understand that point because I've helped people too, And then on the other end too, you got like what Keem's saying, man. These people you gotta wake up sometimes too, and you can't ever become complacent. And if you've gotten to that point where you're begging for money, and then you go and you see that people will go and give in to you and give you money, and that you can actually, make a decent buck just by lowering your expectations and degrading yourself, so to speak, man.
Yeah.
What's you know what I mean? What is what's your initiative to ever get up and actually do something, man? To start working and contributing. So I understand both sides of it, man. It's
Let me jump in here. I've been around long enough, and I know this shit, and it's the fact that I busted my ass every day for what I got, so I ain't giving shit to anybody who isn't in my immediate circle. I ain't fucking giving anyone. You're fucking panhandling. Fuck you. I'm sorry.
Amen.
I mean, seriously. I don't want to pick sides. But everything I got in my motherfucking life, I earned. Ain't no motherfucker gonna take shit away from me. I ain't giving shit to anybody. Seriously.
We literally
I wake my ass up.
And to be truthful, it wasn't even my food.
Shit.
I gave away X-Jaws' food.
After the show, Sean's gonna go stab a man in the street.
I know, right? He's gonna go straight down to Chicago and just fucking beat a homeless guy.
To be truthful, I gave away X-Jaws' food.
Sean's gonna go stab a homeless man and light him on fire after this show.
I've never done this, but I've seen people try to give food to the homeless. They're like, nah. They don't want it.
They want beer, dude. That's all.
Yeah, they want beer or
dude, when we were in Houston, we were on this street. Everything was fine. We went one street over to the gas station, or not Houston, Dallas, and there was fucking bums everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? It was like a different world. Over here was completely fine. On the other side of the fucking block, it was like Walking Dead. They're all fucking. Got change. 20 cents. I need bus fare. Like, it was fucking ridiculous.
Now, what about the people that like have a talent and do the shit on the street corner?
Now, see, I have respect for that.
That's different. That's different.
Yeah, that's a talent, man, and that's one of those things where if I have some money on me and I think it's and I like what they're doing or whatever, I have respect for that. A lot of times I'll throw them a buck or whatever.
Let's go do that.
No, I want to go.
Let's go do that and see how much money we can make.
No. I have a way better idea.
It would be hilarious.
And I know this goes against what my whole stance on this, but I want to like go up to homeless people and I want to see if they will like give me change for 100, and I want to see if they will take a check.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Check.
This is what I'm envisioning.
Hey, I only have my debit card. Can you take that, please?
This is what I'm envisioning, right? I take a bunch of YouTubers, right? And we call it the Entertainment Challenge. And they have to stand on a street corner and do some type of performing, and whoever wins the most money wins. Or gets the most money wins.
We were talking about doing that for my channel because I play drums and all this shit. We live right by Chicago, and we should just get a drum platform. We should combine both ideas. We'll take the drum platform, push it right up to a sleeping homeless person, and I'll just fucking jam until they wake up.
No, I'm talking like on my thing. I want to go up with a $100 bill and be like, "Do you have change for this?" I don't want to give him any money. I just want him to give me.
Hey Blade, the funny part is
the
funny part is when he comes out, and he's like, "What do you need back?" And he's got 20s, 50s, 100s.
Yeah. He's like, "What you want, brother? You want
Exactly.
10s? You want 5s? You want singles? You going to a strip club? Come on."
Oh man.
The homeless people. The homeless people in bars is a great, beautiful combination. Like I got friends that are like bartenders and shit, and like back in the day, like when I was big in the club scene, there would always be like a bum assigned to each bar, and they would have to like go in and clean up puke and do all kinds of retarded shit, and they would get like a free alcohol if they do all this stuff.
Free alcohol.
I love that. That was great.
Yeah, they would
There
do
always one in the
You're
bathroom.
so removed from bars now that you call it a free alcohol.
a free alcohol.
Sounds like a video game power-up. And now you get a free alcohol. Thank you,
really bad dub
thank you
from,
for
like, a
unclogging
Final
that toilet, Mr. Holmes.
How many alcohols have you had tonight?
I get 4 free alcohols.
Dude, they would make this bum do the stupidest shit. They would say like,
Time out.
"I'll give
I
you
gotta say-
$20 if you drink this gallon of piss," and they would like they would fuck with this bum so bad.
Okay, I have a true drinker when they go out, they feel that they can really only base how much they drank based off the amount of drinks that they personally bought, not how many drinks were bought for them.
Ooh.
So
What?
yeah, I'm serious. I've gone out and I've in a situation where I bought like 3 drinks for myself,
Okay.
but a bunch of other people bought me shots just because they hadn't seen me in a while. Bought me shots, so I probably had about 12 shots.
Okay.
But in my mind, I'm thinking I only bought 3. I'm good. And I think that people actually use that mentality. That free drinks don't affect you.
I never have. I just
What do you
count
mean,
the
like you're
drinks
good
I
to
drink.
drive? You're like you're not drunk. What are you
You're
talking
not drunk,
about?
yeah.
Oh, okay, you're not
like
counting them.
so like net shots versus gross shots.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. For the most part, I just start drinking, and then the next thing I know, I'm usually pretty hammered, and then it's downhill generally from there. So there's
We go to
usually-
a lot of gaming conventions, and a lot of times it's open bars. So when you walk out of there, do you feel like, fuck, I didn't drink shit?
That's obviously different.
I'm completely
I
sober.
don't
Let's
try to
go
keep-
drive.
I don't try to.
But
keep
officer,
count.
I didn't.
I don't try to keep count when I'm at what asshole goes to an open bar and tries to keep count of how many drinks they had.
That douchebag who wants to impress people.
I actually like count every drink.
Really?
Yeah, I just did.
Why? That's
Whoa.
fucked up. That's
Ooh.
fucked up. I would not want to know how many drinks
I just categorize like everything. I don't know. It's life. Are you going to store it in the memory bank of your brain?
But
or
why do you need to know that you're on your 9th Jaeger bomb? Why can't you just drink and just have a good time?
Maybe I just want to remember it. I don't know.
What's the point then?
He looked all wounded when he said it. Maybe I just want to remember.
Just want to remember the fun I had last night.
Okay, is it more fun to not have any idea what
Yes.
you drank the night before, or to know exactly how much you drank, or does it not matter?
Okay,
I don't think it matters either
The
way.
best scenario is to get right up to that edge, but not go over.
That's
the
called
best
the brownout. The brownout. You don't fully black out. You just
Yeah.
right. The
Brownout.
brown. When you dip in for a little bit and then you come back out. That's
Yeah.
kind of, that's
You don't
want
want to fully. You don't want to fully like fall.
Miss the
over.
bad
I mean, you
times,
wanna-
you get the good times.
Yellow-
The
Yellow Breast
brownouts
is the king of fucking browning out and blacking out.
The brownouts,
Well,
like, I can't
I've
remember
controlled it.
between 11 and 2, but I remember getting home, like, that type of shit, right? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
No.
Where you, like, forget hours?
No, it's just you're on such a good lean that it's fuzzy, but you didn't black out. That's what they're talking about, and that is a perfect nirvana of drunkenness. When
See,
you get
for
to the
me-
point where you're like, "Fuck, I did that." Yeah, you know, like that kind of shit.
The
I have
best is
this
when there's a
problem-
camera crew.
I have this problem where I hit this threshold where I feel like I'm going to get sick, and so I stop drinking and I'm fine, or I go, fuck it, and I have to drink through it. And at that moment, I have to drink like 3 or 4 shots in a row or something, and then I can get
Then you're
power
just
through.
then I can get into blackout. But otherwise, I have like this built-in thing that's like, no, go smoke some pot. And then I smoke pot and throw up because you never do that when you drink.
Well, and the other thing too is, and everybody's different, but I know some people that are in the mind of they count their drinks because they're like, well, once I can only have like 4 beers, then I'm really fucked up, or whatever the case may be, whatever your number is. But for me, there's times that I have a shot or 2 and a drink, and it's just maybe I'm a little bit tired that day, or whatever the case. I'm feeling good about something, and
And
I
it rocks
feel,
your nut.
I'm like, I fucking feel like a rock star, And then there's other times that I'm just drinking like a fish, and my liver is just crying, and I don't feel nearly, the same amount of drunken stupidity, that I did on half.
No,
the
me and
amount
my
the week
liver
before
That
or
is
whatever.
so
me,
weird.
me and my liver don't talk anymore. We're not even cool with each other
No.
anymore.
I always found it amazing that sometimes I could be out drinking all night and not get drunk, and then other times I'll go out and have 2 drinks and I'll be wasted.
And you feel fucked up, right? Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I was
I'm like,
talking about. So-
what?
A lot
I've
of it is
never
what
understood
a
that.
lot of it is like it's never.
I
an
know a
idea
lot of people
to-
talk about food, like
Yeah.
eating before you go out, but I'm equating that in, and it doesn't make sense. There's got to be some chemical balance in your body where if it's a certain way, you can go out and get fucked up or with a couple drinks.
I think part of it has to do
Because
now
that
with,
happens. It's
just-
happened to you. You drink a lot. I've seen you go out and have like 2 shots and a drink, right? You only have 3 drinks, and you're like, there already. How?
Because I probably didn't eat before.
Other nights, you're fucking drinking a shitload, and then you eventually get there.
Maybe it's what we talked about earlier, where 70% of that feeling is expectation.
It's the atmosphere and the expectation, but what I was going to say is I think a lot of it, too, is ultimately just kind of the mood and the state of mind you're in, the people that you're around, because I don't know if anybody's ever done any, acid or any shrooms or anything like that. I about 15, 20 years ago when I was in high school, I'll admit it, I did, and people always enjoyed themselves, tripping around me just because they thought that I was a fun person to be around, for whatever reason or another, but... And I, out of the times that I did do it, all except for one time, had a great time. And the one time that I didn't, it was a down atmosphere. There was a few people I really didn't know very well, and it was just kind of a bad vibe,
That's bad news bears right there.
Yeah, and it was like, my God, I just can't wait for this to end, So,
Dude, we should do a podcast on shrooms.
Dude, I get that feeling every single time I get high, dude. I feel so paranoid.
I do know this. If I have like a shitty day, I don't go out and I don't drink. Because if you have a shitty day and then you go drink, it's not going to be a good
it just
scene.
compounds the shitty day, is what it does.
But if you
It's
want
like
to
getting kicked in the balls,
celebrate, awesome though.
Yeah,
to celebrate,
to celebrate.
awesome.
Right.
is
Well,
awesome.
because then the other thing is, if you're having a bad day and you start drinking, you start to kind of train yourself to want to go to drink when you have a bad day, which is not a good habit.
Bad conditioning.
I personally celebrate every night.
Yeah.
Every night,
For better or
every night's
worse.
a fucking celebration here. I swear
It's
to
called a
God.
ritual.
For better or worse, he's Norm from Cheers,
Yeah, exactly. The sad part is when I walk home, there's no one there to say, Sean! It's just empty crickets. No
Dude,
one
I felt a little weird putting that out there when we did that video about Addiction or Never. Like, it was nice to put it out there because it seemed like it helped the people who it needed the help, but it is weird to be like, yeah, hey, I've kind of got a fucking problem. Or used to, or whatever,
Hey, I got a problem, and I'm still dealing with it as we speak.
Guzzle, guzzle, guzzle.
It's really not beer, it's water.
So, okay, couple of topics that I thought were interesting. Unless someone else wants to pick one, I don't want to fucking direct everyone around.
I already got
Yeah,
one.
man, feel free.
Okay, so
Yeah,
one of the
exactly.
topics was new movies. I saw Pacific Rim last night. Has anyone else seen Pacific Rim yet?
No, but I did
No.
I did see Pacific Rim Job. It was a great movie. Saw it on PornTube this morning. Awesome.
Is it already out? Because I predicted on
Uh-huh.
Twitter, I was like, mark my
Honestly.
fucking words. Pacific Rim Job is going to be the porn sequel.
Two
Specific.
thumbs up the ass was
Should be
that's how
called
good it was.
Specific Rim Job.
Pacific Rim Job.
No, I didn't see Pacific Rim yet myself, but I did. I talked to a couple people that saw it, and we're gonna take the kids, probably over the weekend, and I caught Grown Ups too, is what I wound up seeing. So,
it sounds weird, but people were telling me that Shaq is really funny in Grown Ups too.
He actually is. Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, you know what they did is the only problem with this one is like Sandler at this point in his career. I mean, he's married, he's got kids, he's kind of more in the PG family territory. But he basically just got every fucking person that he's ever met in his life together and was like, hey, you want to be in this movie with me? Yeah. So the problem with it is that there's funny parts, but the characters, none of them really have a chance to be on screen and shine. But Shaq is actually funnier than shit in the movie, I thought. It's just personal opinion. We had a choice between that and Pacific Rim, and I have 3 kids. My oldest, my 12-year-old, is visiting my parents in Michigan for a few weeks, so the 6-year-old picked. And he was like, he really loves Grown Ups 1. It's kind of a family movie. Some of the jokes are adult, but he's like, we got to see Grown Ups 2. So we caught it and we enjoyed it. But did anyone else catch either one? Sir, if you said you caught Pacific Rim.
Yeah, I saw that, and so I went last night with Jamie.
What is Pacific Rim about?
It's basically...
It's like Godzilla versus Transformers mixed together.
It's like Cloverfield meets Iron Man.
Okay, those are 4 completely different movies.
But it's just
monsters taking over the Earth or something, right? And we're trying to reclaim the Earth.
If you can,
giant titans to fight them, like these.
If you can take the movie for what it is, and if you can get an action movie mindset where you don't have a lot of expectations for story and character development, then it's a good movie. The action is really good. The animation is really good. I would never want to watch it at home, even if I had like a home theater, because it is like a big screen movie. It's cool
big
to
screen,
see.
Surround sound.
Right. It's all about that shit. The story is pretty poorly written. People criticize Avatar for being predictable. This is 10 times more predictable, but
sure.
It's still a fun, cool thing to check out. And basically the premise is that like instead of aliens coming out of space, they came out of this crack in the seafloor. There's like this warp to another dimension, and their whole explanation is that when dinosaurs roamed the Earth, you like my French fry? When dinosaurs roamed the Earth, they were basically scouting. This other race takes over fucking other worlds and shit. And so the dinosaurs were here to scout it out, but the atmosphere wasn't conducive. So basically, because of global warming and emissions and all this shit, we basically terraformed the planet to their liking. So they come back. And now instead of like dinosaur size, these things are fucking the size of entire cities and shit.
Like
and so
Godzilla.
we created these giant...
And you said the story wasn't well developed? That's crazy as fuck. I want to watch it now.
Sounds like better than half the shit that they throw out there nowadays.
Like,
and it's not a sequel, so it's not fucking whatever 4,
I think they could have honestly made it into a trilogy, and they could have done a better job of developing the story, because they kind of just slap a bunch of shit together. But the action is really cool. Basically, humanity gets so fucked up that all the people left on the Earth are like, fuck wars between nations, fuck all these issues we have, we need to pull all of our resources together and figure out how to defeat these things. So it's cool because you see like humanity transcend all of like the subjective bullshit that we deal with today, and they create these giant things called Jaegers, which are these huge machines. And
alright, you're giving too much away.
Yeah, right.
Spoiler.
Do they have weapons that are like bombs? They can be called Jaeger bombs or no?
They do have bombs, awesome. But yeah, that's basically it. It's a cool action flick. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna catch that one this weekend. So, did anybody else see Grown Ups? I don't know if anybody else is a fan of Adam Sandler or any of the other guys.
Well, I seen Grown Ups 1. This is the second one.
Did you enjoy the first one, Keem?
Yeah, the first one was good.
I thought it was pretty funny because Sandler, I've been watching him since, actually, when I was in high school, I used to listen to his CDs that he would do, and
Adam Sandler CDs were awesome.
It was fucking awesome, man. Lunch Ladyland.
That sound like him.
It was, Sandler was always great with the voices he was doing and everything, and then a lot of people criticized him because, he's just like a lot of the, performers, the bands like Metallica that were heavy metal back in the 80s, and then they sold out in the 90s, and then they went kind of country and all this other stuff. It's the same thing with Sandler, though.
Exactly what he did, actually.
He was hardcore. He was R-rated movies. Just a lot of potty humor type stuff, but it was funny, right? Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison and stuff. And then probably last 10 years, it's been more like Disney type stuff, family oriented.
Like First Dates. And...
Yeah, but the guy, he's in his mid 40s now. He's got millions of dollars in the bank. He's got he's got kids that are probably.
I think the last I think the last one that he did that I could really consider like a really good Adam Sandler movie, like as far as that category, would be Big Daddy.
Big Daddy was good. Did you guys see That's My Boy? came out.
That actually wasn't awful.
That's My Boy was actually one of the better movies that he did in the
Yeah, I
real
saw it.
in the real like R-rated
I
genre.
fell
You know what I
asleep during that
mean?
movie.
Did you?
Hey, I love Paul Thomas Anderson, but Punch Drunk Love sucked. I don't know if you guys ever seen it.
Yeah, I did see
Not
that,
fast.
and the couple more serious ones, man. I haven't been super.
See, but like when
super
people
excited
hate on
about it.
Adam Sandler or other people for changing, it's like I think anyone who does a creative endeavor can testify to the fact that your content has to change and evolve over time because you do. I mean, Blade, Keem, would you guys say your guys' channels? I mean, Keem, I know you do a lot of different projects, but Blade, you've been doing this one thing on YouTube for a while. Would you say overall your content has changed as you have?
Yeah, of course. Like everyone has to grow
Right.
up.
Your content hasn't changed at all.
Here we go.
You're still making the same.
Round one. Fight.
Listen, all right. This is not a bad thing. This is not an insult. But you are still doing the same exact thing you were doing 4 years ago. You are talking over gameplay.
Yeah, I understand that, but like
All these other
me as a
people-
person has
Yeah,
changed
man.
in the last 4 years, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
but-
your content does not change.
Well-
That's the definition of it. The content has changed.
But here's
The
the thing.
vessel that I present it in
Then,
hasn't changed.
if you're going to say that the content has changed because you're talking about different stuff, then doesn't the content change every second?
Yeah.
Okay, well then every second your content is changing.
Always evolving.
You cannot say that.
I just did.
You were like this dude. This dude was shocked the other day, and a lot of other people were too. He is the biggest commentator. There isn't a person that talks over gameplay and that's all they do. They're a commentator fully on their channel anymore. All the bigger people that started doing that now are like making in real life videos, or they're doing these other things. They're doing
General
let's
gaming,
plays.
right.
They're playing Minecraft. They're doing all this different stuff, right?
Lol.
You probably have the biggest commentator channel that's left.
Right on.
But what I'm saying is like your content hasn't changed.
No, but what they're saying though is like
Have you changed personally in the way you deliver that content? Okay, it's talking over gameplay, but the type
Exactly.
of content and the commentary that you're doing have the subjects, have some of the things
Yes.
you talk about, have they matured, changed, whatever,
That's what
for
I'm
better
saying.
or worse?
Well, let's
Yeah,
clarify
Adam
something. I
Sandler
think
still
what
making movies.
I think what Keemstar is talking about is context. The context hasn't changed. The content itself has changed, though.
Right.
Right? Those are
There
two
you
different
go.
things.
Thank you. Thank you. That killed it right there. Bam. Score for me.
Well, it's like, okay, look at point in case. Woody was to help Unexceptional Gamers. When was the last time he made a video helping anybody? I think he made a stab at it like a month ago. I was like, hey, I should make a video for people who don't know my channel, but it's like, why bother? You've got over 1 million subs. Why do you care about being the Unexceptional Gamer? That's what you started out as, but now you're known for all these other flagship series and whatever. You know? The content has evolved.
That's like saying
what-
that's like saying Adam Sandler hasn't changed because he still makes movies. That's what you're saying.
Right,
No.
right.
No.
If it ain't broke, don't
No.
fix it. Seriously. If people are still enjoying what the fuck you're putting out, what the fuck are you gonna change it for? It's
There's-
like when you need to evolve with time, but your subs and your fans and everybody's gonna let you know. When Adam Sandler isn't doing a fucking movie when he does a movie and he's making $500,000, guess what? It's time to fucking change because people aren't with you anymore.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, like, I watch the Call of Duty community, and there's trends, right? All of a
Right.
sudden, people play DayZ, right? Next thing you know, a bunch of Call of Duty commentators are now playing DayZ. They follow these trends. Oh, I'm going to jump in Minecraft now. Or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They play different games, they try different stuffs. There's a lot of trends out there. You know what I'm saying? You have not followed any of those trends. You have
But-
still
Hey,
just
Keem.
talked over Call of Duty.
Hey,
I wish I
Keem,
could.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I wish I could. I wish I could like fake it and play Minecraft and fucking cheese it
Well,
up.
let me ask you guys a question though. I mean, Blade, apparently you're not doing fucking Minecraft or anything else because it's not something that fucking interests you. You're gonna do something that you want to fucking do.
Yeah.
I know, that's what
commentary
I'm
over.
saying. It's a compliment, really. It's not an insult, but, you know.
And I'm not knocking anybody because I don't know if a person that makes a Minecraft video if they enjoy it or not. I have no idea.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm saying I'm sure I know there are people that play Minecraft and don't actually like it. They
You
do
got
reviews.
motherfuckers with
And
a
blatantly
million
fake it, right.
subs that hate Minecraft, but they're like, look, dude, this is what people are doing now. I'm gonna have to figure this out. What do I do? Oh, I dig? Okay. Yeah,
But if
that's
they can entertain their fans and play it, so be it. Who cares? I just can't do it. I'm too
Yes.
lazy when it comes. I can't fake me liking a game. I can't do it. But I'm not gonna knock another person if they fake it.
Seriously,
It's like-
I understand where he's coming from because you know what? I'm not gonna fake pretend like I fucking like having sex with a fat chick. I don't. But sometimes you gotta fucking take one for the team. Seriously.
Yeah, same
You know,
thing. Bad chicks, Minecraft, same thing.
Exactly. Fat chicks Minecraft. To me, it's the same thing. My son plays Minecraft. That's fine. But you know what? He's 13 years old. A different thing.
I literally just use gameplays to talk over. Like I've set the expectation on my channel that like, don't expect anything out of gameplays because it's literally whatever I'm playing and it's terrible. Like I don't even do a good job of trying to edit it because I just use it as a medium to talk over because it's better than a blank screen or my fucking fat face.
I mean, I'm like, I think I'm the only one that still cares about my gameplays because most people don't really give a shit, but I think that people care that I care. If that makes sense.
Oh, totally. People pick up on that, and especially because you're a specialty. You know, like I heard of you through other commentators. The first person I'd ever heard of was White Boy because anytime you look up anything on Call of Duty, he's one of the first people that comes up. So I learned of you through that, and when I started watching your videos, I was fucking blown away because I was like, I can't even manage a 1-to-1 with guns, and here's a guy at least going 1-to-1 in matches and way better in your gameplays that you put up. And so to me, I think in and of itself, like by default, your gameplays kind of have to be better because who wants to see like you go like fucking 1-to-3 on a Blade game? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd never put anything like that up. But like I see people put stuff like that up, and I look at it like this. I wouldn't do it, but I'm not mad at people for doing it. You know what I mean?
Right. To each his own.
Yeah.
Seriously, anyone who's man enough to wear those pink headphones, man, gets respect from me, man.
Was that the only one that got kicked out? I felt like I was the only one that got kicked out.
Yeah, you got
you're
kicked
the
out.
only one that got kicked out. It's cool.
That's fuck.
Zero shits given. Sorry, I just ate a whole fucking ton of food. I'm really hungry. I ate some White Castle.
I drink a ton of beer, so don't hate on me.
I'm hungry now, actually. Yeah, me too.
Nice job, guy. Nice job, Surf.
Hey, what can I say?
Well, I think we're actually going to take off. Thanks for having us on the show, guys.
Hey, thanks so much for coming, guys. We really appreciate you special guesting, and yeah, thanks very much.
See you guys.
Thank you, guys. Peace.
Keemstar ONLYUSEmeBLADE.
Good luck.
Peace.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet
you guys too.
All right, guys. So who's got our next topic?
I left it on for awkwardness, but it didn't happen. All right, we're going.
What are you guys talking about?
I got back into chat, man.
Chat. Well, I got kicked out, and I was confused.
Well, we were talking about new movies, and then...
I mean, there's still a plethora of topics, and I also...
a whole player.
I'm having a hard time choosing.
When you guys put up that topic of the girl getting fired for being too hot, it triggered memory. Like a few years before that one, I saw another one, and this girl got kicked, or she got fired for just being or wearing too tight of clothing and being too curvy. And I threw it up there on the chat, and I mean, we could talk about those two. Girls being too attractive and getting fired because their wives are pissed.
So for our viewers who don't know, basically what happened was, I think it was in Maryland, there was a woman working for a dentist, I think it was, and he fired her because he said that she was a threat to his marriage, that she was too attractive, and that he couldn't resist her. So what happened was when she sued him, and it went through the court system decided that if any employer decides that you are a potential threat to their marriage, they have the right to fire you. So it's this big thing. Like sorry, I'm burping so much. She literally got fired for being too hot.
Well, you did have White Castle. I expect nothing less, man.
White trashel.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually quite jealous of that.
It's what you crave.
Exactly. No, seriously, can I ask with you, man? I mean,
yeah.
I work retail, so I deal with a bunch of good-looking chicks, and as being a guy, it's the temptation is always there. And I understand where he's coming from. I mean, I would never fire someone saying, hey, you know what, you're too hot. I'd find another reason to fucking fire ass. I wouldn't come flat out and say,
yeah, you always got to come up, especially because of all the laws now. You got to come up with something.
I mean,
you got to be smart about it. Everybody's got a fucking case nowadays, right? For
yeah.
Getting fired. Oh, it's because I was too fat. It's because I was too ugly. It's because I was too. You know what I mean? So you really got to make sure you documented everything and you're smart about firing people. And I'm sure you would know that at being in a position of. What's that?
I re-looked at it because you said Maryland, but it's actually Iowa, and the Supreme Court said that he was in the right.
Right. Yep.
So he's good. Like he got away.
He's good to go, and it's just the fact that you don't really say that to. You would never say that to anybody. If you find another reason, there has to be a reason out there. Nobody's perfect. I've been doing this shit for years, and it's the fact that you can fire anyone for any reason. Like I can go to work tomorrow, and I can lose my goddamn job because my boss wanted to find something that I did wrong.
Right.
If, and it's the fact that you have a legitimate reason. You ain't got to worry about it because someone's too hot. I mean, seriously, to me that's bullshit.
But forgive me because I came in late here. I stepped out for a minute to go to the bathroom. But now, what happened? I briefly read this as well, but which as I was skimming over things. Okay, so an employee of White Castle, a female employee.
No. I was just talking about White Castle because she was an employee at like a dentist office. She got fired.
Okay, that's what I got confused by. I was like, what? Okay, so she was an employee and she was too sexy, which I've heard that before in like the banking industry and things like that have happened. But there's never but that was not like why that's what they assumed happened and that's what they cited was it, but they had no proof. And then the banking people came back and said no, it's because of XYZ, like Sean was talking about. They had documented all these other errors and things. So how did they get away with just straight up saying like you're too hot, we fired you? Like how is that like legit at all? Like can somebody fill me in on that one?
I have no idea. The only thing I know is that the courts decided that if an employer feels like an employee is a threat to their marital status, then it's within their scope of boundaries to fire them.
Oh really?
Yeah.
The priest and the wife suggested he fire her for being irresistible.
Wow, that's awesome. Hey, by the way, what happened too? I was gone for like 2 minutes, man, and Keem and Blade had to go, or
yeah, they had to peace out. Yeah, I didn't realize you were gone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I did. I put my thing up there, and I had to go to the bathroom, so I had.
No, but you know what? Let's just jump into that and thank them for really being on. I mean, to me, it was a pleasure to have them on. I think it was funny as hell, and.
They made me laugh my ass off.
I mean, you're talking about two YouTubers that are giving guys the opportunity to bring new viewers in, and I mean, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I have much respect for both of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, totally. Let me make something clear really quick to the viewers out there. Like for new guys like me that come in, especially in the commentating community, because there's so many. There's such a huge influx of preteens and like people who aren't able to put forth the level of effort that maybe someone at my age could. Okay. What happens automatically is anyone that you reach up to, it doesn't matter even if they've got a few hundred subs more than you, almost everyone is a non-response or they're assholes. For every 100 messages you send out, 1/10 of them are people that are at least decent and respond. Out of those 10 that respond, maybe one of them shows interest. So for them to take a risk, and mostly just because I supported them and sponsored an episode, that's rad as fuck, man. These guys have like absolutely zero motivation to help out a little guy like me, and they did anyway. So lots of love, lots of dick sucking going on.
No, and and it's like we spoke about this last week briefly, and it's like I said, man, that's all about having that attitude of never forgetting where you came from. It's something that was stressed in our household, and it's something that I'll always live by, regardless of where my status in life ever is. And that's why I even took a minute to to kind of give them a personal thanks when we were off air beforehand, and it's really just because I meant what I said. It was absolutely, like I said, it was very gracious of them and nice of them to come on, and plus they were funny as hell. I had to step out for just a minute. I had an energy drink, so I had to pee. And I go upstairs or whatever, and my wife's up there making popcorn, and she's got the earbuds in, and she's watching it on her phone or whatever, and she's like, "These fucking guys are great, they're hilarious." She goes, "They're like an old married couple."
Yep.
And I so like I said, I thought that was good and comical as well. So things flowed well.
Yeah, those guys are both so chill, and some of my favorite commentators because they're so chill. And I think honestly, it's that attitude that made them want to hang out with some peasants. Some YouTube peasants, but
whatever.
Thanks for being on the show. And that's funny because I think that's sort of understating us. I think that we got a pretty good thing going on. But
on people, who cares?
But what though, man? It's like I mentioned though in the pre-show, and especially because I wanted to, and it's not just because we're related. You're my brother. You always want to see somebody do well. That's a friend or a family member or whatever. But I see how much work goes into, especially now that I'm putting up videos and on such a shitty, smaller scale compared to the work as far as the editing and process that you go into with the stuff you do. And you can make the best content in the world, man, but if people don't see it, I mean, if you're a writer and you write this great novel, but you don't get it published, and only your friends and family read it, I think as somebody who can provide and create those type of things, you want an audience to see that and critique it for better or worse, whether it's positive or negative comments about it. You want the world or as big of an audience as you can to see that. And that's that's kind of where I'm going with that, is that this allows you to get a bigger audience. You can have the best content in the world, and I think we have a good thing going too. I've gotten a lot of positive comments from people that I don't even know, about this show, and that's great. But again, you always like to have more exposure,
Yeah, you know what? I want to jump in there too, Jim, and it is. I mean, it's really nice to get the, I guess, get out there and get your name out there because. Regardless if you have 2 or 200 people watching, it's the fact that, we're doing something we enjoy. We're sitting around bullshitting, talking about shit. And,
refraining from masturbation for once.
Right. And I think that there's a lot of times we hit on good points, and, yes, sometimes we're just fucking ridiculous. But, I mean, it's just, I think people could see that. It's just kind of a bunch of guys having a good time and, sometimes making some sense out of things, man.
Yeah, and people who've watched us, since the beginning or since early on, like I said, I've gotten some personal messages on my Facebook and things like that. And as a matter of fact, there's a female fan, and I don't want to say her name because I haven't talked to her to see if it's okay to say it out loud.
I'm just kidding.
No, I don't. I wouldn't go that far. But no, there's
she wants
a fan of ours, that has just said she really enjoys, just what we do and just the jokes that we make and just the I guess the kind of raunchy, humor that comes from us.
Bitchy asshole.
And she can see the progression that we've had and kind of gelled as I guess as a team, since we've started out. So that's obviously good stuff too. But with Sean, we started out just kind of doing it, not giving a fuck, who was watching or what, and to some degree, I still don't give a fuck, But
0 fucks have been given.
Yeah, but it is nice to know though, and to get some feedback, and to know that there's some people out there. I've got several people that I get messages on Wednesday and Thursday morning going, "Hey man, you really helped my my hump day, my midweek day go by because I go and I throw on the headphones and pretend like I'm working for a couple hours and I listen to you guys fucking."
It's
just
one more hour. I don't want to slit my wrists.
Exactly. We're keeping people from hanging themselves in the bathroom. Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time.
That's why I go to the bathroom.
I just
I like talking about too is I like talking about the fucking hockey player who fucking walked away from $70 million.
So a lot of people, I think that's outrageous. But for me, for someone who's not really concerned about material, I can envision myself absolutely walking away from that if I had already had a career like he did and probably had a comfortable living setup. Because a lot of guys just they live outside their means and they
is the guy
money.
And here's the thing. Look at this is the guy, the 99% of athletes that are fucking stupid and don't invest their money, they don't save their money, and they're broke and penniless, and they have to play beyond their career, and they have to become an announcer afterwards, or or panhandle, so to speak, to keep their income and to keep their lifestyle and their cost of living in line with what they're making. Or was this individual smart? He invested, opened a couple restaurants, saved some money, whatever he did, and he says, "Hey, listen, it's just not worth it, getting another concussion, or maybe, getting my fucking ear slit off, or whatever." You know what I mean? Just going through.
I think his motivation was going back home, right? It was to go back to Russia.
Well, obviously, I mean, he invested his money properly because, I mean, how many players do you ever hear that walk away from $70 million that are fucking broke? Obviously, he was smart with his money, and I think he was.
How many years did he play though? Didn't he play for about 10 years or something though, Sean? Wasn't he?
I mean, he had just signed his contract recently within the last couple of years, but the fact is, he walked away from $77 million. Okay, the fact is, nobody walks away from the $77 million. I don't care if you're fucking Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, you're the greatest in the fucking world. If you're walking away from that much money, you've got a comfortable living for yourself, your family, and generations to come. Okay. And, I give him credit because, you think about it, walking away from $77 million, I guarantee you ask 100 Americans if they would ever walk away from $77 million.
They'd say no. Right.
Yeah, exactly. They fucking say no. And this guy he's not an American. Yeah, he's a Russian. He walked away, and fuck yeah, good for him. Positive.
Yeah, no, man. I like, and honestly, because here's the thing. With the lifestyle that I have right now, we're not wealthy by any means. We're not, I feel bad because we're not going on vacations at Disney World. My wife and I have never even really been on a proper honeymoon. But here's the thing. We're comfortable. We live in a decent neighborhood, and realistically, if you went and told me, "Hey, listen, I will give you, $5 million or whatever the case is," and or you can, do this endeavor, this project, and you'll make more over the long term, but you're going to have to give up time with your family. You have to work 80 hours a week, whatever, but you're going to make 10 times that. I'd take the $5 million and walk. I think that I would you know, budget out, and I would not. So many people live beyond their means. You know, like Surf was saying, they live beyond their means. They get the big contract. They got to have 3 houses. They got to have a boat. They got to drive around in a fucking Hummer. You know, sucking down gas. You know what I mean? And they're paying everybody. They got 10% to their agent, 5% to their publicist, whatever. And at the end of the day, they're not investing any of that money, and they're basically just going, hey, it's fine because I'm a superstar and I'm going to make 15 million more next year. You know what I mean? So I really applaud the person that can walk away from that, because most people are driven on, you know, that's their main driving force in life is money. And I try to look at it as like, that's not the driving force in life. That's just something that makes life, you know, a little bit easier. And if you don't have to worry as much about money on that side of thing, it's one less thing to, you know, to worry about, lose sleep over, or whatever, you know.
It's funny because people are sheep, and I made a comment about this today. What's up, Gilman?
Gilman, how are you doing, brother?
Sorry, I surprised you guys.
You're playing in the background.
Yo. But I made a commentary on this today. It's actually going to go out tomorrow, assuming I can upload it after the show. Well, like, people are sheep. People are substanceless. Most people just do what everyone else does because it's always been done that way. They don't really think about, you know, the context of their lives. And
how much money do you really need? I mean, like I said, if you're and what I was getting at is, if your lifestyle right now is I can live comfortably on $50,000 a year, right? And then even say you double that and you say, okay, well, I can live comfortably on $100,000 and not go and buy everything under the sun. I mean, that's the problem is that everybody always wants more and more and more, but ultimately you're really not doing anything to increase your happiness in life. You know what I mean? If you're a miserable bastard when you're poor, you're going to be a miserable bastard when you're rich. If you're a shitty investor when you're poor, you're going to be a shitty investor when you're rich. It's the same type of mentality, but how much money is too much? And many people say, oh, I don't know, just keep giving me money, you know. And I'll make that decision when the time comes, but ultimately, like I said, I would not trade in the happiness and the time, because that's the important things to me that are priceless, for that money. You know what I mean? That's just not me. But
they call that
each his own.
They call it the hedonic treadmill. That it's actually a studyable phenomenon in psychology where no matter what.
You're muted there, bud.
Whatever we get or acquire, at some point we will adapt to it and want more. So unless you're conscious of that sort of thing, people tend to just be on that upward spiral of progression where, hey, I can continue to increase my net worth, but, you know, again, if you're not enough of a man without it, you'll never be enough of a man with it. That's just how that works, you know?
Yeah,
hey,
absolutely.
Let's talk about the stem cells. You know, I know it's been a thing going on for, man, years and years and years, and I know you, I think, Surf, you're the one who brought up the
so
topic of stem cells. So go ahead.
A little bit of background. During the Bush administration, there was this whole thing on stem cells, because there's 2 ways to harvest stem cells. One is by, essentially, I think, for a less eloquent way of saying it, by ruining a human embryo in order to harvest the stem cells. Now, stem cells are cells that have not, they can be genetically influenced to be whatever you want them to be. Okay, so there's cells that you could use to potentially grow another human being. The 2 conflicts was the one way of harvesting it, which was harming the human fetuses, and the second conflict was just that, cloning humans. Okay, what the Bush administration was ignoring at that time, and what's much more widely accepted now as medical research, is the fact that, like, donor lists for organs could be completely eliminated with stem cells. And so what this article was is we've literally just grown the first fully functioning human liver with stem cells. So the idea here is that we can use lab rats to grow. We've grown ears, we've grown livers, and it's just getting.
They should use the hobos for that.
Actually, my buddy
people think.
I'm just saying. Well, you pay them, right? And you could pay them with an alcohol, or whatever, and use them as.
I take offense to that. For one, I'm not a hobo.
Since the homeless, you know what I mean? Like Keem and Blade were talking about, they could contribute to society. You could give them an alcohol or whatever for doing a good job, and then you wouldn't have all the animal rights activists going, oh my God, you're killing rats and harming pigs and the monkeys, and all that stuff. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your role though. You were going. I'm sorry about that.
I was say one of my friends, who's a biomedical engineer, actually wanted to do a project where he made a liver that was like automated, like out of parts, like machine parts or whatever.
No shit.
I don't know if he ever did it or was just messing with me.
Buy the Toyota liver.
It's like dialysis. Dialysis is for kidneys. You can make an iron lung. Why can't you?
Yo, bro, you got that Mitsubishi kidney? I heard that shit's the bomb.
No, I got Samsung.
But yeah, so the debate basically now is that it's a morality thing. People call it playing God. I think that's a little naive and foolish, but that's just me. So that's the debate. Should we do it just because we can do it? I think personally, my take on it is, like any new power, any new technology, is it going to be misused at some point? Of course it is. There's always going to be someone with other intents or purposes that is going to misuse it. However, should that stop us from being able to literally progress towards a point where we could eliminate things like a heart donor list? I think that's infinitely more important than letting little kids, people of value, people in general just die. So that's my take on the stem cell thing.
I agree with you. Go ahead, Gilman.
I say, why don't we use abortion cases, fetuses, as for the stem cells? If they're going to get an abortion anyways, why don't they use those fetuses to get stem cells?
I think that's part of what the controversy was, because I think in the Bush administration we were doing that. I don't know if we're allowed to do that anymore, but I don't know for sure, but I think that's what was going on.
I mean, they're going to destroy the fetus anyway. Why not put it to good use?
Right, use it to save another life,
Well, I mean, and that's the point too. Is that if it's Tim dropped again, is that if it's going to good use and we're going to help somebody else, I mean, fucking A, why not? I mean, if it can help, what happens if it can help cure cancer or cure anything in the future? I mean, you're right. Is it going to be misused? Yeah, because as human beings, we fuck up and we do stupid things. But I mean, if it can help someone, I mean, seriously, I mean, it's like if I have a fucking cup of milk, okay? And I can
like where this is going already.
Yeah, and I can fucking help somebody by fucking giving them a cup of milk. I mean, and I know I just went on a rant an hour ago about homeless people, but I mean, why the fuck should I pour it down the goddamn drain if I can help somebody else? I mean, that's the whole point.
Totally, man. I totally agree.
And
go ahead.
Even if are you saying they can clone the fetuses and use that, or?
I'm not certain. I don't think that we can. Here's the thing. I think the reality is we probably could clone a fetus. That might be a reality. It might already be happening. I mean, who knows how much of that medical literature isn't published? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do think that
there's a lot that goes on.
There's a lot that goes on that we don't know about,
and it's necessary
because most people can't handle that information.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. I mean,
but we've been cloning full animals for years, llamas and fucking goats and all kinds of shit. The sheep.
Was that sheep's name?
I forget. But yeah, if we're all in agreement on this, we should probably pick another topic because that's probably boring. That we all are like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know a lot about it, so honestly, I didn't really. I haven't read a whole lot, about it, so I don't feel educated enough on the subject to, to really be able to play one side or the other on it. Yeah,
Jim,
that's just my personal.
If you could own any one exotic pet, what would it be?
Exotic pet? What are we talking like is exotic, man? Like, cause
I don't mean like a Latina prostitute. I mean like
no, I like a Komodo dragon.
Man, those things are fucking dangerous, though.
I know, dude. That'd be sick, man. I'd train that fucker to be like my watchdog, man.
That's the real deal.
Seriously, man. And I'd have that fucker. You know what I'd do? I would give it one of the. I don't know if you could do this with them, if it's the same thing like with dogs, but I'd get one of those fucking invisible fences, man, and I'd just let the fucker out in my front yard, right? And seriously, man, mailman, neighborhood kids, Jehovah's Witnesses, fucking just boom, and I'd be on the news like every other week, arm was bitten off by a Komodo dragon. I don't fucking, don't be trying to sell me some shit, man. So.
What about you, Gilman? What pet would you choose?
I want a fucking cheetah, because I think those things are fucking awesome.
You're like, Komodo dragons are dangerous, but I'll take the cheetah.
Yeah.
Right. I think a cheetah comes with its own warning labels, too, brother, and its own set of problems.
I just read today that cheetahs will actually chew on the root of this one plant and makes them hallucinate. And it makes them hunt better. So
I'm back.
That's what you need, is an animal that can run at
you.
Fucking 80 miles an hour and is tripping balls, man,
Yeah, I would love to run at 80 miles an hour and trip some balls.
I see, Tim still isn't back.
Sean, if you could choose one exotic pet to have, what would it be?
Oh, and it can't be a Latina prostitute.
Oh my God, is she exotic? A Latina prostitute? She's exotic?
Tim said, though, that he's got first rainfall in Arizona this summer, and he's got rolling Google blackouts or something. He just posted it to me on Facebook.
Yeah, I saw
okay.
Too.
Oh, did you? Okay, sorry.
My internet isn't working. Let me tell you, view the internet.
Well, he's probably doing it to his cell phone.
Right, did it for his phone, but that still is pretty funny, though.
Exotic pets. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is not an exotic pet. I resent.
Seriously, I mean, I'd like to. I mean, honestly, what I'd like to have? I'd like to have a fucking a panda bear.
Just to cuddle with, or
Yeah, I mean, I like.
Cool,
I mean, it's nice. It's cuddly. It's got a lot of fur. I'd like to, honestly. I mean, I don't want to make love to it. I just want to cuddle.
Liger, isn't that? And that goes part with that stem cell shit. Isn't a liger a lion and a tiger? And didn't they? Didn't one of our siblings, Surf, talk about ligers? Did like a report on them or something? Wasn't it our brother actually, or was it
like,
you?
It got brought into popular culture because of fucking stupid Napoleon Dynamite. I never liked that movie, but
I mean, they like really exist though, don't they? And is it from the mating of a lion and tiger, or was it like a cloned thing?
I think it actually occurs in nature naturally.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the case.
Yeah. Well, if a Komodo dragon's not available, I'll take a fucking liger.
I think it's debatable that Jesus could be a exotic pet.
Thank you, G-Man. Thank you. Okay, fine. Then my first choice is Jesus, okay? And then I'll go with the panda bear, okay? Seriously.
Jesus and then the panda bear.
Yeah,
But I was
Jesus,
gonna
then the
mention-
panda bear.
We went to
Because don't hate on me because you didn't think of Jesus first, okay?
San Diego Zoo. They said the pandas like to use their poop to make artwork in their cages.
Aw, that's cute. That's
Just,
cute.
That's
just
sweet.
like human artists.
I'm so turned on right now by a panda bear right now. See, now I want two.
That's terrible. Because
His image search
I know
right
where
now.
Because I know where that's going.
Panda plus poop.
If I could plus poop, that's always a factor. If I could choose an exotic pet, it'd be hard to decide between like a chimpanzee of some kind because they're fucking so entertaining, or an African gray parrot. An African gray parrot in the United States, I think people pay like $1 million for. And it's because
Wow.
I think they're capable of learning like up to 3,000 words or something. So you can basically have
That'd be killer.
dialogue
Don't
with,
keep it in
with
your
an animal. You can have like an actual conversation with an African
That
parrot.
would
Okay, you know
be
what?
killer.
I would like to change my thing. Here's what I would like. I would like a woman that doesn't talk. Seriously, that would be an exotic pet.
That would be a rare find. I don't know
Seriously,
if it'd be an
it's very
exotic
rare
animal,
because
but
she wouldn't bitch at me. She wouldn't tell me no. She couldn't. I mean, I can go anywhere. All holes are open.
Have you guys heard that? The joke of the year. Two women were sitting together quietly, minding their own business.
yeah, actually, I think I saw that. I think I saw
That's
that on
the
your
joke.
Facebook
Oh, man.
page or whatever.
There's an article that we found when I was interning a while back that it was like, this guy got hit by a hit and run twice. Both drivers were women, police said.
It's good stuff. Just good
I'm
stuff.
drinking
There's
a root
also-
beer, and I almost never drink soda, and it tastes like kind of like shit because it's so sweet. I'm not used to it.
Oh my god, there's this other article I found that was like, I actually saved this. It's the title of the article is Llama attacks man, headbutts car.
What? Llama?
Nice. Llama.
So he calls the cops and he said something like, he called 911, your phone is breaking up, what's got you hemmed up? A llama. A llama, the dispatcher replied. In Cleveland.
Fucking llamas in Cleveland? Jesus,
Let me
criminy.
post the
These all sound like
Oh.
good band names. Pandas over Jesus, llamas in Cleveland.
Llamas in Cleveland. And now on the
Women that
main
don't talk.
stage.
I mean, it's all like
Yeah,
rare,
right.
Seriously. I mean,
Exotic
we're on some kind of
animals
rare
that don't
kick
talk.
Seriously, this fucking
Exotic
chat sucks.
women
I'd like to
women
stab
that
some.
don't talk. Holy shit, yeah, I see
I'll
that.
post the article in chat, it's ridiculous. I was laughing so hard.
That's good stuff there, Matthew. Good stuff.
So, okay, we got swept up and talking about a bunch of other shit, but I wanted to mention to our viewers, Jim from Jim's Nerd Nation here recently launched his channel, and to a lot of success. It's going really well, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, and by accident too, because to be honest with you, I've been procrastinating. I got the name and everything, and secured all the stuff for the Twitter and the fucking, whatever. I just did all the branding stuff like 2 months ago, and then I kept like putting it off. And our dad had been staying here for like 7 months, so I kept going. Well, it's because I always don't have enough time to do shit, and he's sleeping over here and that sort of thing. And there's just so much going on, and ultimately I think a lot of it was just the unknown. It was the fear, and it was also too like I have zero. I mean, a lot of people don't realize what goes into even just making a simple video, like
People
a
have no
home
idea.
movie. I mean, even just the simple stuff that I do, and what I do on the video is the review. I generally shoot it in like one take, and then I'll go and I'll edit out a couple of things here or there at the beginning or end. But because I'm not that advanced yet, like there's literally, but it's literally like a several hour process, you know. So a lot of people don't know what goes into it, and I mean, people go to school for that shit. So, but anyway, the point being is that I came into it by accident because I've been procrastinating for a while. I originally had wanted to get into something where it was just heavily gaming, and the main reason is because even though on Overdose I have a camera on me and I show my face, you know, the moneymaker here, I really felt self-conscious about doing a lot of videos where it was like me taping myself, right? So I was like, well, you know what? I can cover that up by playing a game. You know, and if I play a game, I can just talk over it, and then people can, you know, just listen to my voice and the shit I want to talk about.
The sounds of my sultry voice.
And ultimately, I mean, that might work out somewhere down there, but I think it was really more fear of like, am I going to be accepted if people see me, you know? And we were drinking last week, you know, thanks to Gilman and everybody here for that, because we celebrated my birthday, and then EOP came on at the end of the show and invited us all onto that live stream. Gilman passed out, and we wound up going on to the live stream. And,
hey,
you guys.
You from California?
I love that part.
That was awesome.
Oh my God.
Anyway, and you guys stayed for a while, I think, for about an hour and a half.
How long did you last? I only lasted like 45 minutes.
The show, Tim, was like 2.5 hours, right? And then get this, it's like 2:30 in the morning, okay? Like my prospect of having sexual relations with my wife, like my late happy birthday present, has gone down the tube. Like she had the sexy outfit
Jim, mine
on,
left
the
7
makeup.
years ago, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, and it might be for the better too. Trust me, because a lot of times it's just, it's not worth it. But at any rate, so she had come down. We're having some drinks, and then after having all those shots, she was like, "Do you want me to make you a drink?" And I'm like, "That's a great idea." So I had a couple of these giant like football glass-sized drinks that are like 20-something ounces of just like mostly vodka with like a little splash of juice. So I was 3 sheets to the wind when EOP brought us on the show. I stayed on the show with them for 2.5 hours, and by the end of it, I was so hammered that there was EOP, King of Lightning, and that other guy, Joltan, and I was just like, all right, listen, and I was like the director of the show. I was like, all right, you guys stop bickering amongst yourselves. I got a question. And then I'd go and I'd ask them shit individually, you know. And a lot of people, though, it was funny because there's been like over 2,000 views, I think, as of today, or at least last time I looked, of that live stream. And there's a lot of people that were commenting, and a lot of them, believe it or not, were like, hey, I like that guy Jim. He should do reviews. He's good, you know. And I had been wanting to kind of get into a new medium anyway. I had just ordered some of the Walking Dead books about a week ago, which just arrived. And then I thought, well, hey, what the hell, man? EOP called me up the next day, and you fuckers got me way too drunk. Because the next day, I like woke up and I did not feel good, man. And I haven't got that drunk in a while. Like the whole day, I was just dragging. So all of a sudden, I get this phone call from some weird number, and it just says the number, and it says New York, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I don't answer it, and then like 2 minutes later, I get a text message. It's like, hey, yo, it's me, EOP. What the fuck? How did he get my number, right? He's like, is it cool if I call? And I said, sure. So he calls. We're talking for like 40 minutes, right? And finally, I'm just like, how the fuck did you get my number, man? You know? And he goes, and I'm thinking maybe he talked with Surf and he gave it to him or whatever, right? And he's like, you gave it to me like 2 weeks ago, bro. Because like after he was on the show, you know, I always send somebody like a thank you message, and I'll usually shoot him my number, you know, like a personal email address, like if they ever want to touch base or whatever. So anyway, he said, man, a lot of people want you to do reviews, you know, they like your opinions and your thoughts. So that's, you know, kind of the whole story with it. I had no real background on how to do thumbnails, how to edit, and I still really don't. I'm just kind of learning as I go. But I've been pretty well received, man. So I went from last Tuesday night, people started subscribing to me, and I had no videos up, right? So then, I don't know, I think it was like by Wednesday or Thursday, I think I had like 40 subscribers, and I was like, this is getting ridiculous. It's like, I have to do something. So I put up a video on Friday, and I think it's got like 500 views now already, and I'm like, holy
It's funny,
fuck.
I'm so glad that you got pressured basically into starting your channel. Cause
I got like bullied into it is what it was.
Right.
But yeah, otherwise I'd still be sitting here this week going like, yeah, I'm going to be launching any time now, you know.
By the way, I'd like to point out that I did get some subs off that too, and so did Tim.
It's funny because people are like, why aren't you making videos? I've seen like comments and shit. And like,
I don't even have a fan.
Well, EOP, yeah, when EOP put up the live stream after it was done, and he put it up, he put, you know, links to all of our channels and us and everything like that too. So I was imagining you guys were getting some, you know, some views and stuff too. But I mean, I had all kinds of shit going. So I was just forced into doing it, and for some reason, people, you know, they seem to like my style of reviewing. I've gotten a little bit, kind of looser and more comical with the things that I say and comparing them to stories and things in my life. And so far, it's been very well received, man. This One Piece that they talked about that's been going on for like 15 years, they're on like chapter 714 or 15, and I started reviewing the chapters, and I'm doing them one by one. And apparently, too, I'm like a phenomenon on YouTube with this community because there's nobody else that's ever done that before. So, and a lot of people are like, I bet he's not going to do it, So it's like, hey, whatever, I'll take that.
Man. Prove him wrong, right?
It's like, I'll take that bet, man. I'll throw up a few of them a day. And what I do, too, is unique, man. Like, I read a chapter, and they're like comic book length, like 20, 25 pages. I read a chapter, and then, like, I immediately put it down and fucking record my first thoughts and impressions for the video. So people get, like, my fresh, raw, like, I just read that, thing. It's not like I read it yesterday and, like, I can't remember the details. So I think it's kind of unique, man, and
right on, dude. It's good.
Yeah, so, and I mean, everybody has different ways they go about things. I'm going the ass backwards way. I need to find somebody that can help me do like an animated intro now that has knowledge of that. The guy that I had is not too reliable with it, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not. And I mean, I've taught myself basics in Photoshop. I'm learning more every day to do thumbnails.
Jim, did you get that? I sent you the one guy who does pretty decent things earlier today.
No, I didn't. You sent me something?
I sent it to you on your YouTube channel. It was a guy.
Oh, no.
I mean, he may charge, but dude, he can do like a banner and stuff for you for like $10, man. It's like fucking next to nothing. He does a pretty sweet job.
For any viewers watching, if anyone out there does graphics or is interested in helping out, let us know. I mean, I've been using the same generic intro video from fucking iMovie too,
Well, and I was actually going to do, because I hit 100 subscribers earlier today, so I was going to do like a thank you video and everything, and I was kind of going to ask anybody who had that, and in return, because a lot of people really like some of the art that I've been doing and everything, I was going to say, hey, listen, if there's anybody out there that can do that in return, because I don't have a ton of money, I'm married, I got 3 kids, I mean, you probably don't want one of my kids, and my wife wouldn't be happy if I gave one away. But at any rate, so the offer's not on the table for that, just to be clear. But I don't have a whole lot monetary-wise that I could probably pony up for something like that. But I'm looking for like a 5 to 7 second animated intro that I can put together and use on my videos, and other than just kind of the recognition that you'll get for it, I can do a custom signed portrait of whatever the fuck you can think of. If you name it, I can do it. So
I can kind of do stuff like that.
All right, Gilman, you're hired.
Gilman.
Hey, I'll give it a try. I've messed around with like the Windows Movie Maker and stuff like that.
That's what I'm using right now for just the video editing, and I mean, I've only scratched the surface. So I'm like, I'm still at like, I made a nice home movie, That's pretty much the stage I'm at.
Tim's my 1 subscriber, so thanks,
I got
Tim.
2, and then someone actually put on my discussion, did you read the first episode? And I have not.
It's funny because I think one of the things that makes this podcast different too is almost any podcast that I've seen on YouTube is all YouTubers. I'm the one YouTuber who has a podcast filled with people who aren't from YouTube. Except for, Jim just started this week.
I think you're pressuring us to do YouTube now, though.
No, not at all.
I need to do a YouTube.
I think it's actually funny because, like, I don't know, usually you come into the table with a bunch of knowns, or at least people who have like a following going on, but we start from the fucking bottom, And
I suppose that method is good for some of these guys that knew each other within the community and that were friends. The guys like on PKA, a lot of them like were friends, or I guess knew each other, became friends, through that, and then started the thing. But I mean, I wouldn't want to just say for the sake of argument right now, I've been doing this for a year or 2. I've got a nice subscriber base. I would not want to go and get together and do a podcast, a weekly thing with like 2 or 3 other people that I didn't know, other than that I talked with them over a Google Hangout for an hour, and said, hey, we should put our shit together and we'll get more subscribers collectively, maybe a one-time special, I'd appear on some. But I don't know if I'd want to. I'd rather do something like this, even if it's not, beneficial subscriber-wise and notoriety-wise. I'd rather get together with people that, are of like mind and interest, that I have some knowledge of. And I've known Tim since he was just a little fella, and obviously I've known Surf since birth. Gilman, I just met you recently, but you're a man after my own heart, and you have the kegerator, and you live on the West Coast, so I can come visit you. And Sean, you and I are, close enough in age to where we have a lot of the similar, movies that we've seen, and just different things that we've seen growing up, because we're from similar, I think, age. The age gap is not that much between us. So,
right.
So I think, at least personally for me, that kind of helps, and and I think that helps to get along and just help us gel better, as a cohesive unit.
Right,
So.
and because like not everyone has channels too. Like there's like the I don't give a fuck factor, which I like about our podcast because like other podcasts are just too cautious or they don't. They're always kind of I mean you've got a public image, everyone's trying to uphold it, but we don't give a shit. So I think that's part of the fun. At least I'm having fun.
Public image, my balls in your mouth.
Right, exactly.
And also, too, to mention as well real quick, and Gilman, I'm sorry to cut you off, buddy, but we did talk about this in the pre-show, and I wanted to say that the character, the person that is Sean, that is Shank, that he portrays on here, being the Archie Bunker, I fucking hate everybody and everything, and I swear every other word, that really isn't the person that there is, and anybody who hasn't seen it yet, I'd like you to take a look at, and I'll put a link up on my channel as well for the viewers that I have, of the most recent Surf and Shank that they did, and it was actually it was about addiction, and I think it was good. I think it was real good, heartfelt commentary, and number one, you get to see a side of Sean that you kind of didn't maybe know was there if you've just seen him on the show, yelling at people in Boston and things like that. But ultimately, like I said, man, and I truly mean this because I said it off here and I'll say it on air, it's a side of you that I think it should be something you should delve further into. I really do. I think maybe
it's funny though because
an
that's
uncomfortable thing
Sean.
for you at first, getting over that, but I think it's easier to portray a character of like I'm just a fucking dick, and I think that's easier to come across as than to go and kind of get into some of the serious stuff, but I think you can do both, and,
that's the funny thing though is that like legitimately if you spend 7 days in a row with Sean, you probably wouldn't see what you saw in that video once unless you were really drunk and talking about
because even the night we went out a month or two ago and had a few drinks and tacos and
Sean
stuff like that, there was a couple of moments here there were some of that fucking potty humor type stuff came through, but for the most part, it was a completely different thing than what we experience here on air. So, and I think don't get me wrong, man. There's nothing. I'm not negatively bashing any of it or saying anything one way or the other. It's actually a positive thing. I'm saying that there's another side to it. You should explore that.
I want to jump in here because I appreciate it, Jim, and me and Surf talked about it a lot. And I mean, when I personally rewatched the video, it was kind of hard for myself to look at myself in those different eyes. Throughout life, I don't take shit seriously, nothing serious. I mean, if you had a conversation with my kids and ask if my dad's serious, they tell you no, and I'm not. And it was hard for me to sit down and talk about an issue that is close to my heart and something that I deal with on a daily basis. And what made it even 10 times harder was the fact that it wasn't done over a gameplay, is that I had a camera pointed at my face, and I had to talk about something that I've dealt with for almost 40 years. And, when Surf played it for me last week and I watched it, I mean, I was really, really unsure about it. And, he asked, do you want to reshoot it? And I says, no. I mean, I didn't think it was bad. I just think it portrayed me in a totally different way that I come off with 90% of the time. And I don't like to be serious. I like to have fun. I like to fuck around. I like to swear. And I like to get my point across. I get my point across by the way I talk. But, I mean, Surf read the email he got from a sub, and it was touching. It was someone that had issues, and it was something that I could really, really relate to.
And that's the other thing too that, like I said, I wanted to commend is that, and I know personally, I would have felt a little more apprehensive and on the spot to even do that type of video because now you have somebody else that almost, I wouldn't say they're relying on you as far as a life or death situation, but this could turn into a life or death situation, and to know that something that you say may in some way, shape, or form influence positively or negatively the outcome of that. Like I said, that's an awfully heavy weight to have on your shoulders for it. But I think it was handled well, and like I said, I enjoyed it. So, that's just my 2 cents on it, and I mean, take it for what it's worth. But
well, no, I mean, any kind of feedback, like we talked about before the pre-show, is any feedback is positive feedback, regardless of what it is. I mean, when there's no feedback, you kind of think that did it touch anybody? And is it something I want to do every week? I'm not gonna lie and say no. I enjoy doing this shit over the gameplay. We had a couple drinks. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I mean, I sat here and I did that 100% sober. I didn't have a drink. We didn't drink until after. Correct, sir?
Right, absolutely.
I mean, we sat there and we shot straight from the heart. I mean, I met him at the studio. We shot it, and then we went out and ate and had a good time. And for me, that's a totally different side of me that I don't like to show to a bunch of people.
And I'm not saying that you have to let it out all the time, but what I'm saying is that you may be the hammer of the toolbox, you know, but there's also a tack hammer, and sometimes you got to gently pound that fucking nail in too, and that's okay. You showed us that you can gently pound the nail in.
That's what she said.
You know, got to put it through the wall.
I give you guys mad respect for that video.
Well, thank you. I think it was rough for both of us. I mean, I don't know about you, Surf, but I mean, both of us were basically laying a lot of stuff on the line and opening up, really, our life and things that, I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm not an open book, and I don't sit here and open up and tell everybody, you know, my life. But that was a major part of my life that I talked about, and I know Surf felt the same way, and it was something that we both felt was important to do.
I mean, I'm comfortable being in front of the camera all the time. That part of it wasn't so weird for me. The weird part was, though, like what you mentioned, is like, you know, I've conquered in my life at least the personality trait that is addiction. However, I still choose to smoke weed somewhat regularly, and so a lot of people who have no context or no experience with that sort of thing go, oh, well, that's still a drug and you're still an addict, and I think differently, but especially for the fact that I can and frequently do choose not to smoke for lengthy periods of time. But making that video was a little different too, because I wanted to make sure that I was actually putting out sound advice instead of just like the generic, like, hey, this, you know.
Yeah,
like,
hang in there, you'll get through it, you know, kill them with kindness,
so
sort of thing.
That was sort of my apprehension as I rewatched the video. And I was like, did we say anything profound, you know? And I wanted to make sure that we did, but, you know, from what it sounds like, it got through and helped the people that needed to see it. So.
Oh, and the main thing is, and my response was basically going to be, and I ran out of characters to say it, was that, you know, I am personally in my life have dealt with addiction. I've never gotten to the point where I couldn't give something up. I did some cocaine for a period of time, and I just did a couple of buddies that, you know, I kind of met through friends of friends, a couple of Russian guys. They were big into doing that, and it was like, hey, whatever, man, I don't care. I got, you know, I'm single, I make a bunch of money working or whatever. I work hard, and I would, you know, a lot of times I'd be fucking jacked up till 3, 4 in the morning, and still be jacked up the next morning, not having slept, and go right to work the next day. So I was always a working addict or whatever you want to call it. But I think one of the things a lot of my friends and family eventually started to get alienated from me. I had some friends that were into, closer friends that were just more into kind of going and having a few drinks, and they would avoid coming to see me towards the last 6 months or so that I was into that. So the only thing that I basically wanted to say is, you know, number one, you're not alone. There's certainly a lot of people out there that are going through that, been through that. I know I personally have, and, you know, but the biggest thing is that, you know, for that subscriber that sent that in, is that your brother's eventually got to wake up and come to the realization for himself. And however that may be, whether you wind up, you know, kind of bringing it to light or putting him on the spot or however you handle it, it's got to come to the point, you know, from him that it's like, enough is enough. Because that was my turning point, was when I wasn't listening to anybody else around me. It was when I finally woke up one day and I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. And you know what it was, is I had gotten into snorting heroin. Never shot it or anything like that, but this is what the cocaine evolved into. You know, first it was snorting it, then it was smoking it, then it was snorting the heroin. And one day, I had done it a few days in a row, I woke up and didn't have it in my body, and I started getting like the cold sweats and the shakes and shit. And it only lasted for about 15 minutes, but for me personally, it was enough to scare me into going, you know what, I don't want to get to the next stage, man. You know, I don't want to get to the next stage. So, you know, but like I said, I think it was a good thing you guys put out there, and if anything, whether it helped that individual or others that see it, you know, it was a good thing to do, man. So, you know, and anytime you can touch other people, not in a weird way, in a significant positive way in the world, man, is good, you know. So full home on that one.
Let's go a little bit of a lighter side.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you know, let's switch kind of topics. You know, we'll go from, you know, the deep. Why don't we talk about a celebrity you'd like to meet?
I was gonna say I did actually end up giving blood after last week's show.
Oh my God, I feel sorry for the person.
Say via masturbation or
they're fucking drunk.
You could refine that and get a fucking like a pint of alcohol, man.
Exactly.
Just wanted to mention that. That was the weirdest hangover of my life.
What the hell am I doing, man? The last thing I remember was talking to EOP and asked him if he was from California. Next thing I fucking
you think
know,
I remember that?
Dude, that was awesome.
That was great. There was one point where you started talking, and like I think like the feed just froze for a minute, but like I swear to God, it looked like just like a drunk when they black out, because you were like mid sentence and you were just like, just like, well, no, and it was like frozen for like 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden he was just like, And then I went and I
There was
like,
one time.
and I even
like-
said, I was like, did he black out?
Yeah, he froze for a little bit.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
I
know
guess
if he was
froze,
talking to
but-
Surf or if he was talking to a roommate, a friend, a fly. I didn't know what the hell was going on with him last week.
It was good. So
Birthday.
I was pretty hammered. I think I did. You know, I put a bunch of shots in. I was telling Surf and everybody the next day or Surf when you came over the weekend. I was telling you, when you guys told me to go upstairs and get a drink, I took and normally the vodka we have is chilling in the freezer. You know, well apparently we had to put food in the freezer because that belongs there. So my wife took it out and put it on top of the fridge. And this had happened a couple days prior, so it was warm, and I cannot drink warm vodka, and that's all I had in the house to drink. So I went and took my, my handy dandy, mixer or whatever the hell you call the thing for mixing drinks.
Notebook.
Yeah, and I went and I threw some ice cubes in there, and I just poured some in, and I was trying to get back down here because you guys were waiting on me. Well, I had the shot glass. I poured one. I did it. So like 5 minutes later, I was like, well, what the hell? We'll see how much more is in there. I pour another one. I did it. So there was like 4.5 shots in that first one, and then that was just like the first hour of the show. Then I went upstairs and did something similar to that again, and wound up with a few of those heavy mixed drinks. And my wife pours with a heavy hand, man. I mean, that 1.75 liter of vodka was like this full when we started. And when we finished, there was about this much left. So I definitely ingested way too much Smirnoff.
So really, if you were able to meet one celebrity, I mean, regardless, musician, actor, porn star, who would you like to meet?
Yeah, porn star.
Oh, that changes the game with the porn star.
Yeah,
See,
it really does. It should almost be two separate questions.
Mine's simple.
Celebrity and then porn.
Mine's down to two.
Okay.
Mine's simple.
Let's hear it.
I'd like to meet Scarface from the Ghetto Boys, or K Reno. Flat as that.
Okay.
If I only could choose one, it would be Scarface.
What about Willie D?
No, I don't. I mean, seriously, I like Willie D and I have a lot of respect for him, but with me, it would be Scarface, Brad Jordan. That would be my first choice, and then it would be K Reno. I mean, that would be my choice. Is those are the people who, at least Scarface, musically for almost 25 years, has been a major factor in music for me. Going back to 1988 when the Ghetto Boys released, I shouldn't say their first album, but their first album with the, core group that they are, Grip It on the Other Level. And, K Reno I've kind of, come on to a few years ago from Scarface, but, I mean, that's who I'd like to meet. I wouldn't give a shit about meeting Brad Pitt or any of these other motherfuckers in there. I mean, those are two people I can legitimately, I believe, sit down with and have a decent conversation and be like, oh, Brad Pitt, I just fucking came in my pants.
Katy Perry.
Damn, it feels good to be
Katy
a
Perry.
gangsta.
Would you motorboat her?
I kind of like Katy Perry.
I am waiting for her to dump those out. Oh my!
Dude, after I saw her titties on SNL, I was like, holy shit, she's wearing like an Elmo shirt. I never realized she had titties like that.
She's
does.
hitting some heavy D's, and I took my wife to actually see her
has
concert
talent.
a couple years ago, and like seriously, I don't usually say this for anybody in the pop star category, although I like some of that music just because it does have the catchy beat and that stuff. I mean, she can actually perform. I mean, she actually does play some guitar.
A lot of people don't believe it, but she actually
sings
does
very well
do
while
really
she's
well,
moving
right.
and everything, And I mean, I think that I respect her, probably more than a lot of other performers that I've seen that play dog shit live because they're drunk or they take it for granted.
I've made that
Fans
argument
respect
for
them.
her before because people chastise her a lot, but the problem is a lot of people see artists on talk shows, and what a lot of people don't know is on talk shows, because you're on a live set with an audience right in front of you, the sound equipment is often not turned up the way that you'd like, and so
The
you're relying
acoustics is
on
bullshit,
PAs
yeah, I mean,
and monitors, and a lot of people
yeah.
think that that's erroneous, but if you can't hear yourself in a monitor correctly, especially as a singer,
very few artists sound good on any type of live talk show or like an SNL or anything.
If you've ever experienced it, when you're trying to sing into a microphone and you can't hear yourself, people just go, oh, well, you feel the resonance in your body. You don't, because there's so much amperage going on around you that you totally fall out of touch with your ability to be able to modify your voice. So with your monitor being the only way for you to measure that, in fact, it's a skill that's hard for singers to learn. Because once you start to sing into a microphone, you hear yourself through a PA, not only is your voice a little bit different than when you hear inside your head, but now you're not adjusting from what you would normally adjust from, which is these body cues. So anyways, long story short, on TV shows, it's not the best way to see singers. In fact, you can see singers perform just about any other medium, and then you see them on a TV show and they do really poorly. So she's always had this bad rep that she's this terrible performer, but if you see her, what she does for acoustic sets, or when you see her live, like she's a really good singer, she's a really good songwriter, she actually knows how to play an instrument, so I give her a lot of props. I think she's really good. And I love her.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed her, and she's she's really hot. So that's one of the few people that in the world that I think my wife likes enough that she would either A, allow me to have sexual relations with her, or B, she would allow that if it ever came up to maybe have some threesome action with that, just because she really likes her too. So that's another plus on there. That might be one of my only get out of jail free cards in life. Should I ever have to play one of those?
If it were me, I would choose either Bradley Nowell or probably Dave Matthews.
I like Dave Matthews as a choice. That's definitely pretty nice.
I think mostly because Dave is the kind of guy that I would likely be able to sit down with and talk philosophy, not just shop, not just music stuff. Like I would actually be able to have a conversation with him that's, a little bit less narrow than just what you would talk about.
Yeah, the celebrity thing, I mean, we should almost break it up into separate questions, like what musician or music type person, what celebrity, like movie type star or whatever, and then you could also go porn star for a third category.
Phoenix Marie.
Because Phoenix Marie is she's pretty sexy. So I kind of like Lisa Ann too, because she's just got that sexy MILF, like I'm hotter at 40 than I was at 20, And
Sarah Vandella, because she could do some nasty ass deep throat and shit.
There's another one too, Mia Malkova. If you guys have
anybody
ever seen
could
her.
deep throat me, so it's no big deal.
She doesn't have the biggest jugs or anything in the world, but she's like very flexible, and not in like the sick way where she goes and like bends herself in half like a fucking freak show thing or whatever. She just uses it in some of the different positions that you see her, and you're like, oh my god, that's just beautiful.
Nice.
So check her out though, Mia Malkova, if you ever get a chance. So
Malkova.
I don't know though, as far as like a celebrity or whatever, there's really not too many people at this day and age that impress me anymore. Like if it had to be like an actor or something like that, I'd probably go with somebody like a Vince Vaughn or like an Adam Sandler, just somebody that I'd really have enjoyed, watching movies and stuff of them and enjoyed their brand and style of humor, just to kind of bullshit and hang out with and go to the bar. If it has to do with like a sexual relations type thing, yeah, I'm probably going to pick like a Katy Perry or one of the porn stars that we mentioned. You can pretty much throw any of them in there. But if you go and you throw in and incorporate like musicians, and I would say one of the people that I've had the most respect for, Dave Matthews is up there in the top 5, but I really would like Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush. The guy, I mean, he's really second to none as far as I'm concerned, just with his talent level. And I mean, and sir, if you can attest to this, I mean, from what I've heard,
he's deaf in one ear.
And from what I've heard though too, aside from that, most bands the way it works is usually the front man, the lead guitarist, the singer starts to come up with some of the main guitar riffs and vocals, and then the drummer and bassist lay down tracks to then follow along and accompany those things. Whereas Neil Peart, being the drummer, he actually goes and writes most of the vocals for Geddy Lee to sing, and then he goes and actually gets together with him, and they work together on the guitar parts, and then he all incorporates it around what he does with the drums, And just a great guy, too. I mean, I've seen him live a couple of times, and I mean, just seems like a real chill, relaxed dude. And about 10 years ago, Rush went on like a 2-year hiatus. They had, been touring for a while, and they were all going to spend time with their families and shit. And fucking Neil, man, they had this big article in a magazine. He went up to fucking study with some kind of like drum Zen master in the mountains of Brazil or something like that.
I saw that documentary, yeah.
And I was like, really? This guy is at the top of his game, and like he went to go and improve his game and get better.
He completely changed his style after that too.
Yeah, and for the better. I mean, a lot of people say, well, artists evolved and everything else, and I'm in that camp where when I was in high school, it was real big. It was like, man, Metallica's selling out, but now that I'm older, I look at it like, hey, listen, I may not like and enjoy some of their music as much as I did, but they ultimately grew older and they evolved as artists. Some for better, some for worse. Some of them are just trying out different things, but I think a lot of them just evolve and they get tired of doing the same old thing, and they want to see like, hey, can I be taken seriously if I do explore this interest I have in maybe a different genre,
Yeah,
so, and some of it too is just bottom line record sales, though. I mean, I'm sure there's that too. So
I've got a lot of respect for Neil. I mean, a certain amount of it is folklore. It's not uncommon for musicians to operate in a similar way, in that there's like an arranger or general composer, like for instance, even in like Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews isn't a very organized individual in terms of his songwriting. It was typically someone like Leroy, who is now passed, who was very much the guy who arranged all their music. People had their parts, people kind of did their own thing, but he was really responsible for making sure that the group stayed in a vessel that... What the fuck?
Whoa!
Oh, I thought that was Tim.
Why are you gonna instantly blame me for doing that?
Well, because it's usually Christy. I hate to say that, but it usually is like Christy, like,
She
oh my
doesn't,
god.
she doesn't get home for at least 15 minutes. Nice.
I don't keep track of time, but just I would say 9 out of 10 times when it's something like that, yeah, generally it is Christy.
Yeah, sorry.
No
Tim,
offense to you, Tim.
Tim, we always look at you,
It was just funny.
but it was me.
Or if we're all drinking, we look at Gilman.
Don't worry, there'll be 2 dead kids in about 10 minutes. So tomorrow you'll see me on the news. I'll be sharing a fucking cell with Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, he's still in the news.
Yeah.
Thank God I have Vaseline.
So, hey, can I ask real quick? I know it wasn't one of the topics, but it was a big thing this week. And without starting like I don't want to get into the whole racial war thing, I don't know, whatever, but just bottom line, what is everybody's opinion on the George Zimmerman case? I mean, was it hyped up by the media? Do you guys,
Yes.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, because my personal opinion is somebody's beating my ass. I don't care if I instigated or started it. If I'm able to defend myself and I happen to have a knife, a brick, a gun, whatever, and I feel that I don't know when that person's going to take whatever, man. I mean, you know, I'm going to defend myself or my family or loved ones, whatever the case may be. But I know I've seen a lot of stuff blow up on Facebook the next day, and everybody was like, "Oh, and it's because of this," and he was and he was a really good black kid in the neighborhood. Listen, man, I don't really care what his background is because he wasn't a choir boy, he wasn't a this. There was a lot of things, but everybody's got, you know, their demons too. Okay, I'm not saying that either one was right, but just from a legal standpoint, if you guys were in that situation, or you see that situation, what's your viewpoint on what happened?
Well, here's the thing:
was he
is
guilty? Was he not?
It's a court thing. It's all about having one person with reasonable doubt. One person had reasonable doubt. That's a court thing. The racial thing doesn't make any sense. A black kid got shot by a primarily or
Hispanic,
mostly Hispanic guy. Yet they hate the white guy. How does the media spin that? That makes no sense. And I mean.
And they bring up, and the media goes and brings up like every hate crime that's ever happened that's been racially fueled for the last 10 years, and you know, so I know a lot of it's hype, but I just wanted to know what everybody's opinion was, like I said, without starting a race war on the show, because it's not about that. It's not about black or white to me. It's about right or wrong, and was the guy right in defending himself, or do you think he was guilty and he killed a kid? And that's wrong.
I'm sort of opinionless because I don't really trust information from anywhere. I mean, for the most part, I don't see any.
Well, given the information that's available to you right now, that's what I'm saying. Because you're right. There's a lot of things that may have been hidden or that we may not know ever.
I would still remain impartial for the simple fact that I feel like there's been an erosion in the justice system for a long time, and that because we make exceptions or rules for the exceptions, we move away from the essence or the spirit in which laws were intended to begin with, which is just to govern common sense. And so now it's become such a game of what
can we bring up? What can we talk about this person?
So
what loophole can we find to cause that reasonable doubt to make that person guilty or not guilty or whatever? You know, it's how can we sway things with the media and with
Speaking of the Zimmerman trial, there was in L.A. there was a protest that about 150 people,
on the highway.
150 people broke off of and started vandalizing and assaulting people.
Just
any excuse, man. Jesus.
For the verdict, like they didn't like the verdict, and they started breaking windows of stores and like looting and vandalism.
It's just an excuse. It's like when the Bulls three-peated and repeated, and there was people flipping cars and using that as an excuse to rob and steal a TV from the store. Man, that's what that is. It's an excuse, man.
That's how I got my
really
TV.
Cares, So that's how I got all 4 of mine. But whatever.
And my wife.
So I got. She was the result of a looting riot.
I got the booby prize. My bad.
Well, do the rest of you guys have something to say about the Trayvon Martin thing before we wrap it up?
My whole point is, you know what, I wasn't there, but there's not even 2 sides.
Allegedly, you weren't there.
Well, yeah, because the kid got killed, and you know what? I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. The fact is, if someone attacks me, I have a right to defend myself. Did Zimmerman defend himself? I have no idea. I wasn't there. But if he did, and he killed a kid, it is what it is. If he did it racially, then he got out lucky. I don't know. I wasn't there, so that's the whole point. Is like with people, I don't judge them because I wasn't there. Next.
I think he had the right to defend himself if that's what happened. I mean,
that's all I'm asking, because I mean, several of us here have kids, and like I look at it as like, okay, my 12-year-old is going to be 13 pretty soon. This could have been him in a couple years, but do I feel like my kid probably wouldn't have been, bringing that type of bringing that type of stuff upon himself because of the way that I believe he is and the way I've raised him? Sure, but things could change in the next couple years, and I know that as a parent, I'd be pissed if someone killed him, and I thought that it was because of what they were saying. So I mean, if it's a touchy subject, nobody's got to answer. I was just wanted to know what people's thoughts and impressions were on it real quick. You know what I mean? Based on the information you have, I mean, do you think he was guilty or not?
What's interesting is like the initial reports. It was just like this guy just walked up to this kid who's carrying Skittles and shot him. That was like the initial reports. It's like,
he had Skittles and an Arizona iced tea and a hoodie.
I ate Skittles. I'd shoot someone for Skittles.
Right. Were they the sour Skittles or were they the normal Skittles or were they the tropical?
If they were like the purple
Skittles,
Skittles,
the new fruity kind that nobody
I would
eats.
straight up kill for the purple ones, or like the mystery ones, like the mystery core ones. Those ones are straight the riddles. Oh God. Sorry, I'm excited about Skittles. I gotta go eat some Skittles.
And Jim has a boner.
Dude, I've been doing,
Don't we all during the show?
Brazilian butt lift now for like 9 days or whatever it is, and it's a fucking hard workout to do in the second week,
So
man.
hard.
It's like you incorporate weights and different things in the resistance bands and everything, and I'm like working muscles that I haven't used before, but I'm also trying to stay pretty clean as far as the eating. So I've been trying not to ingest any of the type of like sugary fucking foods and stuff. So you guys were talking about Skittles, man, and my mouth started watering, So.
Motherfucker.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to end it there. Thanks again to Keemstar and Blade for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, guys. We had a great time, and we'll catch you guys next week, Tuesday, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time.
See you next Tuesday.
15,
motherfucker. See you next Tuesday.
Peace and buckeries.
See you next Tuesday.
It's a Blade reference.
See you next Tuesday.